CQAM.
Oh, God!
567-0560. Toll free in Dade and Broward. Or pound 560 on your cell phone. The opinions of Neil, his guests and callers do not necessarily represent those of the Beasley Broadcast Group.
No.
That advertisers or agencies.
No.
Now, here's Neil Rogers on 560 QAM.
What word did you say?
I feel really, really sick.
There's a marvelous place I know where the wealthy people go. It's where royalty play polo, and that's what I like about Boca. And down where egos are never small, and down where they say alcohol, and every corner has a ball. And that's what I like about Boca. Spend 10 grand on golf course fees. Spend a day in Jewish bakeries. You should taste these delicacies. That's what I like about Boca. But please excuse our attitudes. In our BMWs, we find pleasure in being rude. That's what I like about Boca. Gucci belts and Rolex watches, white shoes make us so obnoxious. If you're clean, we'll let you touch us, and that's what I like about Boca. We really don't care what you think. You see, our doo-doo doesn't stink. There's no coffee, only mocha, and that's what I like about Boca. That's what I like about Boca.
You bet. And welcome. The reason I played that is all our good friends from CNBC are down in Boca doing their shows today and tomorrow. Welcome to our good buddy Ted David. You think he might be down here?
Uh-huh.
The guy with two first names, and Mark Haynes and all those other guys. David Faber and the rest of the Graham. So anyway, welcome down here. Let's make sure the market goes down today. Okay, you got it? Market's got to go down today. So far it's going up, which I'm not too happy about. It's got to go down today. Hey, listen, it's just, you got to be selfish. Like some people I know, which I'll get into in a little bit. Selfish. What, kind of like Jews, for Republican Jews? Yeah, selfish. Motivated only by money, having no ethics whatsoever. But like I said, I'll get into that in a few minutes. Last night, after the Panther game, their seventh consecutive game without a victory. So New Jersey scores what was obviously going to be the winning goal with about a minute and a half to go. So as soon as the red light comes on, the puck is in the net, I bolt up out of my seat and, like a lot of other smart people, go flying out there like a bat out of hell. Beat the traffic. Get the hell out. When in doubt, get the hell out. It was entertaining. Generally speaking, a fairly good time was had by some, including me. It was okay. So I'm making a beeline for the parking lot, and as I get about 10 steps outside the door, I hear a voice. Neil! And I turn, and here's this middle-aged couple. I'm trying to be delicate, because this story, the reason I'm telling you this little episode, is because once again I've encountered an instance that perfectly exemplifies everything that is wrong with this place. And believe me, that covers a lot of territory. It covers a big, fat amount of territory. So anyway, this woman comes up to me, which I've seen her before. I guess at the hockey games. I hope no place else. And she comes up and says, Neil, I got to ask you a question. And I said, well, quick, because I'm trying to get out of here and beat the traffic. And, of course, so obviously were they, because if they were so intense, how come they were running out of there with a minute and a half left to see if the Panthers were going to make a comeback? Were they going to make a comeback?
No.
Of course not. But anyway, got to ask you a question. So she gets up, this big, heavy-set woman, right in my face, and says, how come you're not more enthusiastic? I'm watching you with my binoculars during the whole game, and you're just sitting there like a bump on a log. You're just like this, and she's giving me like a Kvetchy Dicky motion there. Now, I must have been, I don't know, I guess I must have seen the Leafs were pounding the hell out of Minnesota on the scoreboard, so I was in a pretty good mood in spite of the fact the Panthers took it up the old shoot again. I must have been in a very good mood, because ordinarily what I should have said, you know what I should have said? Why don't you get a life and mind your own effing business?
That's fucking bitch.
Exactly. Very well said, Flea. Right on. I mean, if you're so enthusiastic, how come you got your binoculars watching me the whole game? I thought that fans went there to watch the sporting event, whatever the hell it was. Yenta. Obnoxious, disgusting, stereotypical freaking yenta.
That fucking bitch.
Right, like I said. How do you like that? She's busy watching me the whole game. So my answer to her was, well, you know, when there's something exciting going on, I get enthusiastic, and I waddled away. I haven't stopped thinking about it since it happened. Not that it was that. And she says, oh, I'll go to call you tomorrow. You know something? I hope you do call me today. You don't have the balls to call me today, sweetheart. You bitch. You disgusting piece of turd. Like, I have to go there to be on display for people. You know, it reminds me of the thing, the woman a couple of years ago in the Macarena. The woman with the jacket. I'm sitting there minding my own business. I get there early. I like, you know, getting my body temperature down to about 15 below because it's nice and cold in there before the game. Sitting there minding my own business. And here comes some other bitch. See, I'll say it again. I really feel sorry for the South Florida men. I know we got a lot of bozos out there. But you know something? Maybe they were bright, decent guys once upon a time. But take a look at the crop that they had to pick from down here. Yeah. A bitch crop. So anyway, this other woman comes up to me. I'm sitting there minding my own business. A couple of years ago, I'm sitting there with my Maple Leaf jacket, which I wear to all hockey games. 40 years now. 42 years to be exact to being a Toronto fan. I don't question what she's doing, what anybody else is doing. Mind your own effing business. Do no harm, right? DNH. So this woman comes up, Neil, how come you're wearing that Toronto jacket? I'm not going to even tell you. Remember that story. I got news for you assholes out there, okay? When I go to the game, I'm going to wear whatever. If I want to wear a burlap sack, it'll probably be an improvement over my head. It'll be an improvement. If I want to go there with my underwear on, if I want to go there with one shoe on my left ear and my other one deep inside my ass, okay? That's up to me. I don't go to hockey games or any place so that I have to answer to anybody else. I'm just there as a spectator, okay? I'm not there to be on display so that some jerk is sitting there in the stand watching me with their binoculars. In fact, you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start picking my nose during the games and holding them up in the air so that you can analyze them. Oh, that looks like a good one. That looks really good. Bitch. Absolute. She won't be calling. You mark my words. And I found out those people that sit in front of me, yeah, part of the clan showed up last night, and come to find out that the chigger in the woodpile, not to talk about Willie Logan again, the chigger in the woodpile is Murray, who's the grandpa. He wasn't there last night. You know, grandpa and grandma, the grandma that's got these Senior Wences lips. Is that right? Is that right? You know, the one that, remember he used to have the thing on his hand, the face on it. That's her. That was her. That mouth, those lips, that face on his hand with a little wig, that's her. Mrs. Murray, or Buddy, or whatever the hell his name is. He's the problem. Because these people confided in me last night and said, we're embarrassed too. Rip him an ass on here. And I said, okay, I'll rip him an ass, Murray. You old fart, you disgusting, pathetic piece of crap. Sit your ass down next time you come there and stop using the kids as a prop. God. Well, he gets the kids up there in here because, from what I'm hearing last night, that's the only thing he can get up. Sit down, Murray, and get out of everybody's way, you obnoxious old piece of crap. But other than that, I had a great time. 9 minutes after 10 at 560 WQ. Can't you be a little more enthusiastic? No. And guess what, bitch? We lost. So I don't see too much to be enthusiastic about. We scored one goal on a deflection, no less. We scored one freaking goal. Played okay, not, better than we have been. But I'm supposed to be enthusiastic to make this bitch happy because she's watching me through her binoculars. This yenta bitch.
No portion of this program may be reproduced without the express written permission of WQAM Beasley Broadcast Group Incorporated.
Floridians, dumb as dirt.
Yes.
Well, she got girlfriends in and she put up with his one-night stand now. And she forgot all about the whiskey, says the subject is deep now. And now she's in New York City, cause Hillary wants her own Tennessee now.
Outrageous.
And she will run till the voters tell her to go away. Run till the voters tell her to go away. Well, she thought all along that can start with getting wise. You're now she had to subside. And since he made her 55, she was thinking her career was all through now. But now she's gone to New York City, cause she's looking for some folks to rule now. You should And I will run till the booty till it is away. Yeah, she will run till the booty till it is away.
10:14 at 560 WQAM. An Israeli doctor said medicine in my country is so advanced we can take a kidney out of one person, put it in another, and have him looking for work in 6 weeks. A German doctor said that's nothing. In Germany, we can take a lung out of one person, put it in another, and have him looking for work in 4 weeks. A Russian doctor said in my country, medicine is so advanced, we can take half a heart from one person, put it in another, and have them both looking for work in 2 weeks. The American doctor, not to be outdone, said, "Ha! We're about to take an asshole out of Texas, put him in the White House, and half the country will be looking for work the next day." Not bad. Give it about an 8.5 on a scale of 10. College football players sick with food poisoning transmitted the virus to the opposing team on the field in the first documented case of its kind in sports. The Duke players vomited in the locker room and on the sidelines during the September 19th, 1998 game against FSU, which they lost 62-13. The virus then spread to the other team. The only contact between the two teams was on the playing field, said Dr. Christine Moe, who said, "The more I see it, the sicker I get." The virus was passed by people touching each other's contaminated hands. Game film showed ill Duke players with vomit on their jerseys colliding with opponents, and Duke players wiping their mouthpieces on their hands, then touching opponents' faces and later shaking their hands. Oh, and speaking of shaking their hands, here's another little episode from last night's excitement at the Mac Arena. And this may be one other reason I'm maybe not as enthusiastic as I was, since I had 2 cracked ribs and a busted goddamn fractured bone in my hand, bitch. See, even though when you're walking around without a cast on, without some obvious thing, even though I've been explaining on the air that I go for the hand therapy 3 times a week, thanks, Louise, you're the best, sweetheart. And even though my hand is coming along pretty good and the cast is no longer there now for like a couple of weeks, the fact is that there's still pain in that little pinky because that last digit, the last knuckle, was jammed in a cast for 6 weeks. And it still hurts like a mother. So that when you shake somebody's hand, you really don't want to shake anybody's hand. There was a very nice young lady there. She's 24, listened to the show. She shook my hand, and that was just about right. But these guys that shake your hand, they want to show you how manly they are, so they have to squeeze it. Quit squeezing it so hard in my hand, too, okay? I'm not shaking any more hands till this thing heals all up. Do you have any idea how painful that is when your bone is paining and the one in your finger, too? It's paining. They're squeezing it real tight. Cut the crap, you idiots. So a lot of people, I just stick out my left hand and say, the other one's still healing, which it is. Quit squeezing it. Oh, so she never called in, that bitch, huh? I'm going to call you tomorrow. I would give my left nut for that bitch to call.
How come you can't be more enthusiastic?
How come you can't mind your own effing business, bitch? How come you're watching me with your binoculars? I can think of a lot of other people in that place I'd be watching with binoculars, and I'm not one of them. Believe me. Oh, and speaking of people that some folks would want to watch with binoculars, that Amy Semple McPherson Murphy is still loud and just shrill. I mean, a lot of you like the way she looks, fine. Have at her, so to speak. Loud and shrill on an already loud and much too shrill PA system. Dave Joseph says, taking a silver lining out of a dark cloud, at least we have some elbow room at the Mac Arena. You can't complain about the crowd last night because there wasn't any, was there?
No.
None. It was pathetic. And people tell me that were there for the Carolina game a week ago Friday, that was even much worse, that there was nobody there. And speaking of nobody showing up, Michael Mayo, for once, see, this is the once out of the 2 or 3 times a year he'll write a good column this year. Series of Fallen Classic about the fact that Fox is having a nervous breakdown because they spent all those billions of dollars for the rights to carry baseball and the playoffs in the World Series. And guess what? There's nobody watching except for the New Yorkers who are all right. And thank goodness for the New Yorkers because that was the excuse du jour last night at the Mac Arena when nobody showed up. And I'm going to stick by my word. I said I'm not going to be knocking people for not showing up. The tickets are overpriced. The food is gross and it's highly overpriced. They keep jacking up the prices every year on that food. And the performance out there has been, for the most part, last night was better, but for the most part it's been pretty bad, to say the best. But you just keep, and of course the good news I'm seeing is that with Pat Burns fired in Boston yesterday, you can see him moving right on in here. In fact, maybe even the organization picking up a big chunk of his salary so that Harry Sinden doesn't have to pay out that $950,000. Sounds good to me. Uh-huh. Pat Burns, great. Bye-bye, TM. See ya, baby. Go home yesterday and on my door, here's a green thing on my door. Ever see a green thing on your door?
Uh-huh.
one of those things that they stick on your door. The state/federal citrus-canker eradication program will be inspecting trees in your area for citrus-canker in the next 2 weeks. Please don't remove any citrus plants, plant parts, or fruit from your property. Well, I guess if I'm going to remove fruit from my property, I'll have to move out. How do you like that? Do I have any citrus?
No.
Do I have any fruit tree?
No.
Any citrus plant? No. N-O. They showed a guy on News last night in Plantation. Some poor bastard was just hyperventilating, and rightfully so. Pompano plans canker battle in circuit court. Big article today. And not only Pompano Beach is going to be, but also going to be joined in by Deerfield Beach, Coral Springs, Davie, Lighthouse Point, Cooper City, Coconut Creek, Pembroke Pines. And late Wednesday, Plantation officials voted to consider filing a separate injunction against the citrus program, where the fascists, the canker fascists, are coming in and just tearing up your whole property. Just keep in mind who's behind this. His last name is spelled with a B-U-S-H, okay? Just keep in mind he's the head honcho of the canker police. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Not a single call on the board here this morning after last night. Well, they don't care about that, and that was pretty obvious by who was there. So I could just go down this hole. I've got 8 million things here, including that great article from the Atlanta newspaper if I can ever find it. It's here somewhere in the middle of all this other dreck, all this other meaningless crap from the local papers. Like I said, it's in here somewhere, George, goddammit. How'd that poll come out yesterday, by the way? I won. George won big, like he predicted. Here it is, I got it. Get to kill that crap. Who do you hate the most on this show? George, winning hands down. Let's see, Love Them Both won no big. They were in a real loving mood yesterday, which is unusual for this crowd. 377 out of 705. But they hate George the most. 236, 33 and a third percent. They said, you turd. A third of them hate you like poison. Hate them both equally, 51, and hate Neil the most, only 40. However, 12.8, a lucky 13%, hate both of us. The same. So that says a lot about this audience and also a lot about this market. Make no mistake about that. Filled with hate. I don't hate anybody except that bitch from the game last night. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello. Okay, nice talking to you. Mobile in Plantation. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I got two questions. One, last night, do you think the turning point in the game was that Worrell's call against goaltender interference, which cost us a goal and gave them a power play and gave them a goal?
Sir, let me say this to you. It didn't give them a goal. You have to be able to kill penalties, and they didn't kill the penalty. They never got it out of their own in one time on that power play, and Jersey passed it around like there was nobody else on the ice before McGillney stuck it in there. You can't blame the officials when you've played 7 games and you haven't won one. In addition to which, you can't win any games without scoring goals. You can't win games without sticking the biscuit in the basket.
I can't argue with that. And I emailed the Panthers asking for TM's head, and I got the response that Terry Murray, with his 30 years of experience, combined with Bill Torrey, knows more about hockey than I do and most of South Florida.
Really?
And he's here to stay.
He's here to stay. You want to bet? You want to see what happens? If they lose to Nashville and to Ottawa Saturday, which they will lose to Ottawa here Saturday, if they lose those 2 games, I guarantee you by next week he'll be gone.
I'll be throwing a party.
Okay, I'll be there with you. Okay, good going, pal. That's what they always say. That big vote of confidence comes just before the big bomb drops. Okay, TM? I don't want you to get nervous or insecure, sweetheart, but believe me, they're not playing for you. At all. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Latest poll shows Gore 4 points up in Florida. However, CNN discovered that Gore, who was up 1 point in their poll 2 days ago, now he's 5 points behind Bush. Anybody believe in any of these polls?
No.
I don't. I mean, they're just too... You know what they're like? They're like the goddamn stock market. Hysterical. Way the hell up and then way the hell down, and like everybody's peeing in their pants. Like those crazy Canadian people yesterday with that Nortel stock. The TSE went down. The Toronto Stock Exchange went down 850 points yesterday because Nortel represents a third of the whole goddamn exchange. So when one stock like that takes a big crap, then the whole damn goes in the crapper. You've heard of irrational exuberance. We have irrational hysteria. That's what's going on now. Here's our poll question for today. Let's do a U.S. Senate thing. In fact, what we ought to do, we ought to take a poll, go out there and find out if the people know who's running for U.S. Senate from the state of Florida, huh? Before I even give the names. That would be good. What percentage of people do you think would know who the candidates are for the United States Senate? 10. Running for Connie Mack's seat. 10% or just 10 people? Maybe 10 people in the state? That's not bad out of 15 million. If the election were today, who would you vote for U.S. Senate? Bill Nelson, Bill McCollum, or Willie Logan, who I guess is looking to be the chigger in the woodpile.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Good old Uncle Tom, turncoat, Willie Logan. Remember Willie Horton? Here's Aventura. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes?
Yeah. I called about something else, but just talking about hockey.
No, I'm talking about whatever you want. I'm not talking about hockey. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Talk about hockey. We'll be off the air before noon.
Last night on the telecast, after the first period,
Yeah.
they interviewed Len Berry.
I saw it. Remember said Schmitty. I saw it, yeah.
Yeah.
And nice going, Len. Len called him on it, too. He put him right on the spot.
He said that was the first 6 game, remember?
Yeah.
But anyway, one time I was trying to call you. Did you see the 60 Minutes?
Sunday?
Yeah.
Yes.
On that little kid who made like $800,000.
Right.
In the stock market.
I'm going to start calling him. Jonathan was his name. I got his name and number. I'm going to call him for some stock tips.
Little John.
Little John?
I just didn't know what you thought about that. If he was like innocent, he was...
I got news for you, and I'm glad that the CNBC people are down here. Just like his lawyer said, he's a zillion times less guilty than all these fakers that they got one on there right now. James Weiss, State Street Research. CNBC is famous for this. They take all of these goddamn quacks and they put them on there, and they're promoting all this bullcrap and coming up with all these so-called expert opinions. They don't, their ass from your elbow. In the meantime, all they're doing is hyping up their own stock that they got a vested interest in.
You're right. No one knows anything about anything.
That's right.
I will say one thing. 60 Minutes later, it sounded like he was just ignorant of the law. He just didn't know it, what he was doing. What they failed to mention was that when they went on a surprise visit to Little John's house in New Jersey, he had pinups in his bedroom of Michael Milken and Ivan Boesky.
Right.
So that kind of tipped him off.
Well, if it was good enough for him, and he came away from it with $500,000.
Right.
So what's wrong with that? It's the American effing way, baby.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Exactly.
By the way, me and my wife were the guiding light couple.
Yeah.
We love now May the Cigarette Girl.
Oh, I haven't been watching it lately.
You don't know May?
Because I've been going for my therapy. No, I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Oh, the one that Danny hired, you mean?
Right.
Okay.
And Dr. Bauer, I was trying to push candy on her.
Okay.
Later.
Dr. Bauer, Rick. I see I'm all confused. Let's do a guiding light show.
No.
Let's do a hockey show.
No.
26 after 10 at 560 WQM.
There is Nelson.
I need another abortion and I need it fast. I feel like a baby's hanging out my ass. I'm hobbling and having trouble lifting my feet. Panic with the picket line down the street. It's the abortion shuffle.
I never do this. I never interrupt a bit in the middle, but I'm going to do it just because this lady called in by request. Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Neil.
Yes?
You thought that I wouldn't have the nerve to call. I'm the bitch from last night.
Yeah?
But
How you doing, bitch?
But you give me rough ball for.
Yeah?
You want me to give you my address?
Your address for what?
For your
Like I said,
mail.
my left nut?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You know, I wasn't trying to be rude.
You were obnoxious.
I apologize.
You were disgusting.
I was not.
And let me ask you, if you're so enthusiastic, how come you and your husband were hightailing it out of there with a minute and a half to go? If you're so much more enthusiastic than I am, how come you weren't sitting there waiting on your ass for the Panthers to use that last minute and a half and tie the game up and go into overtime, huh?
I tell you what, let me answer.
Yeah?
Because it's my husband's choice. He's always leaving 2 minutes before the end of the game.
I want to send my sympathies to your husband and, like I said, to all the men out there, because they have to put up with nagging, kvetchy women like you who just never stop, okay? I mean, just imagine the chutzpah of somebody saying, I got my binoculars on you, and how come you're not more enthusiastic?
That's right.
Why don't you watch the game instead of watching me?
Because you're more interested.
No, I'm more interested in the game. Well, that says a lot about your enthusiasm for the game.
Let me tell you something.
You're a yenta. You're a professional freaking yenta.
That's what my mother says too.
Yeah. And even your mother can't stand you.
All you do is complain about the food. You complain about the crowd. I don't understand. A man in your position, put yourself through that much aggravation.
Let me ask you, was there a big crowd there last night?
No.
Was the food great?
I didn't eat it.
Oh, I see. So how do you know?
I've eaten it before, but all you do is complain. You should put as much enthusiasm in.
Let me ask you something. Name me one other person in this town who gets more people to those games than I do. Name me one other person.
I can't.
Oh.
See, that's why we all watch you.
That's why you all watch me. Next time, my best advice, please, watch the game. Leave the binoculars home unless you're watching Ray Whitney and Pavel Bure real close. Unless you're watching them, leave the binoculars home and watch the game.
Personally, all I watch is L'Oreal.
Like I said.
The abortion shuffle. The master got me in trouble. Clean me out on the double. Trap me in the stirrups. Get the fetus out of my bay. taste from the juices that I ooze and squirt, and lactating milk all over my shirt. I'm walking like a gimp, taking baby steps, as parts on my puppet gate spread and stretch. It's the abortion shuffle. The abortion shuffle. And the hanger on the double. The sponsor waterfall. In the dirt, it's a being out of
And the reason I played this, speaking of pitching and stretching, let me tell you about a great friend of mine, Dr. Ron, who's been coming to the games for as long as I can remember, who comes around, a nice guy, giving us nice big checks for Camilla's house, and then Center One in the years past every year. First it was $1,000, then it was $2,000, which I've always appreciated very much. But I thought about it sitting here this morning. I thought about it last night. I thought about it when I got up this morning, and I'm thinking about it here before the show today. I'm not taking his money. Because he comes to me before the game, we're talking our usual hockey talk, and he's a very nice guy in some ways. But he's one of those Jews for Hitler. You know what I'm talking about? Republican Jews. And Republican only in a self-serving financial way. Because he knows he's not an ignorant guy. He's a very bright guy. He knows that Bush is a dummy. I even brought that up to him. I had my Gornish button on during the game last night. And he's in denial. He said, instead of saying he's not a moron, he says, well, he's going to surround himself with a lot of great people. I said, like who? Like Trent Lott and like Jesse Helms? And I went through the whole list of all these fascists, Pat Robertson, Gary Bauer. He said, oh, Colin Powell. That was the one name they keep coming up with, the token light-complected Schwarzer, Colin Powell. That's their one claim to fame. And so anyway, he says to me, what's your charity going to be this year? As if he doesn't know, because he's been back for a while down here. He's a snowbird. He's been back down here. He knows it's Planned Parenthood. And didn't I tell you? Didn't I mention that to you about I really wondered if he was going to come to you? Now, I will say this to show you what a nice guy he is. He says, well, I will give you a contribution, because he looked at me when I said Planned Parenthood with that look like, like I just held the cross up in front of Dracula and the Wolfman. And I knew that would be his reaction. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the check, but after the election is over. Because I don't want to find out that any of my money is going to those campaign ads that they're running. And, of course, he's talking about those very effective ads that Planned Parenthood put together, the Republican Women for Choice, which you see those ads on there, with all those women who voted Republican in the past who are now voting Democratic right down the line because they're sick and tired of this fetus-hugging crap. Of these people who come on there like Bush and say, oh, well, I believe in the people should make their own choices, except, of course, when it comes to women, for example. Just as one example, when it comes to personal liberties. So I'm not going to take your money, Ron. I appreciate the fact that you're still, you're still willing to give it. I won't take it. In fact, if we come up a little short, which I doubt because it looks like we're going to have a big year raising money, but if we come up a little short, I'll put another $2,000 in there myself before the end of December, which I've already put my $10,000 in. I'll put another $2,000 in there because I don't want to take your money. Not that you're a bad guy and you're willing to put it in there, but just because the whole principle nauseates me. Right-wing Jews who support Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson and Gary Bauer and Trent Lott and Tom DeLay and that whole bunch of anti-Semitic obnoxious only because of dollars and cents. And like I've told a lot of you during these discussions we've had the last few weeks on this show, if that's all you care about is your 60-cent a day alleged proposed tax cut that you think you're going to get, or like the one guy said the other day, oh, the $2,000 a year is going to make a big deal, like he's going to get $2,000 a year, which he won't, but if he did, if you're willing to sell out on principle for a few bucks, then, it's a free country, at least so far. Go right ahead. Not this kid. It's not worth it to me, and I guarantee you I would save a hell of a lot more than most of you every year, but I'm not going to do it. Jews for Hitler. Very, very offensive to me. Here's Sunrise. Hello.
It's funny the word principle should come up, because the one thing I really enjoy your show about and enjoy your opinion, you've been pretty consistent all the time about everything.
Yeah.
And you spent 2 years explaining why what you've done in the past doesn't matter. The president's doing a good job. It's his own friggin' business, what he did in his private time. Mm-hmm. But now the only thing that seems to matter to you is that Bush did drugs 30 years ago or 20 years ago, and he drinks every once in a while, used to be an alcoholic.
Wait a minute.
Now it matters.
Sir, let me say it again. There's a difference between somebody carousing, which they all do, and somebody having a substance abuse problem that you want to put with his button on the finger of nuclear weapons. Don't you see the difference? You'll have to draw your diaphragm.
So what do you say? We kick everybody out of their job that has a substance abuse problem?
I say that the president shouldn't be somebody with a substance abuse problem, and there is no such thing, in spite of your attempt to rationalize, there is no such thing as an ex-alcoholic. That's like being a little bit pregnant.
But that's all you care about.
Then that's all I care about. And, of course, how much have I talked about that compared, like 1% compared to the other 99% about the issues? And about the fact that he's a moron? Which I got all kinds of material here for you, sir, which I know I won't convince you. If George W. is banging all kinds of broads on the side, and in addition to which, I guess we're also supposed to forget, if it comes out, that he actually paid off for that abortion years ago in the early 70s. If Larry Flint's story turns out to be true, what are you going to say then? Instead of worrying about what I'm saying and being consistent, how about all you Monica Penisgate people out there who've been condemning Bubba for getting a few blowjobs? How about you people? What are you going to say? All you fetus huggers, what are you going to say? I'll kiss the damn ground, I'll tell you that. In fact, I'll kiss that broad from the hockey game last night that just called. I'll kiss her right on the lips, right in front of the arena for everybody to see. They can put the picture on the front page of the newspaper. I'll kiss her on the lips with even a little tongue, for crying out loud, if that Larry Flint story comes out between now and Election Day. That's how enthusiastic I am about that. Because that's what you're dealing with, is bring morality back, all these hypocritical assholes, these grave robbers. And let me say it again. Just take a look, if you can go back on the internet and find the files from the pictures that they've had on there of Houston, Texas, on a nice sunny day when you can't see 15 feet in front of you because the air is so polluted from his good buddies in the oil industry. That's what he's going to do for your environment. Just a big freaking puppet. That's all he is. Just a know-nothing. A dunderhead. So I'm supposed to forget the fact. I mean, first of all, the fact is that Clinton happens to be a capable president. He's been a tremendous leader. He's also not a moron. He's a very educated guy. He knows where Kosovo is on the map. And did a pretty damn good job there, too, by the way. And let me ask you, is Milosevic still over there in Yugoslavia? No, he's not. How do you like that? But don't confuse this guy with the facts. We're talking about somebody who, A, does have a substance abuse problem, which we really don't know the extent of, and B, is a moron. You put those two together, and to me you got something very, very dangerous. Speaking of something dangerous, our sales department continues being dangerous. Does Troy Stratford ever respond about Chuck Alfieri? See, we got two guys down there who look a lot alike, Troy Stratford and Todd Dreck. Names even sound alike. And they refuse to service their clients. And Charles Alfieri's been on his show probably almost as long as anybody under the sun. He's a great guy.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Anybody have a heart or a liver? Everybody's taking a brand new pill now. No more babies, take a pill abortion. If there's something inside of you making you ill now. No more babies, take a pill abortion. No doctor visits, it's so easy to do. You just pop one of these if the stick turns blue. So come on, take a pill abortion on me.
Speaking of abortions, Queer Channel Communications, the biggest U.S. radio company, reported the best quarter in their history. And I read this only because I know a lot of people over there who work there are going to be really upset. Just like when we're reading about the Beasleys and all the money that they're making. And the people there get real upset and gnash their teeth and pee all over the floor in the hallways because they're so disgusted with the fact that the Beasleys won't pay them on time and they're such a bunch of cheap pricks. Well, Queer Channel reported their best quarter in history with record net revenues of $1.6 billion.
Only $50.
Up 98% over the third quarter of last year, and after-tax cash flow of $338.9 million, an increase of 55% from the third quarter of 1999. And, of course, this goes right in line with what I've been telling you about what the FCC did to this industry. Destroyed it, butchered it. And this earnings report, right on the heels of them making all those budget cuts at all their New York stations up there, and all the moaning and groaning and the bad morale and people grumbling and bumbling. Nice going, cheap channel. Assholes. Here's the mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Yes, hi. Hi, Neil. Are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, Neil. I'm very glad that you're talking about the presidential election. What I'm surprised is nobody's talking about Gus Hall and what a goddamn good man he is.
Yeah. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's Boca. Hello.
Hi there, Neil. How you
yes,
doing
sir.
today?
Okay.
Hey, love listening to you. I'm going to send you the facts of the anti-Bush sites.
Yes.
Did you get it?
I
Take
got
a look?
I got them.
Okay. I don't know if you want to tell your listeners. I mean, it's pretty interesting when you go look at all the facts of the man's record in Texas.
Well, I'll get to it a little later, but the fact is that the guys like that first one that called here this morning, he isn't interested in the facts. He's made up his mind, and this man could be the dumbest white man on the face of the globe, and it wouldn't make any difference to him.
Yep, I agree with that. It's amazing how it's just a personality thing.
It's either a personality thing, or you have people who are professional Republicans, like my friend Ron there from the game last night, who's just obsessed with how much money he's going to save on taxes, and that's all he cares about is big business, and he's willing to look the other way, throw all his principle down the toilet over the fact that these right-wingers, these Farbison right-wingers, are the ones that have taken over the Republican Party, and the ones pulling all the strings on Bush. Doesn't care.
Yeah, I'd like to just vote in like you. I mean, I make good money, and I'd probably be in one of the brackets that would get a lot of money back from this thing. But I got a conscience.
Right, that's right.
You just can't throw the social service.
I mean, if you have no self-respect at all, and if your price is that low that for a few bucks you're willing to sell out, then you're not much of a person.
Heck no, I'd rather make a little more money and throw it at more people.
There you go.
Well, it was good talking with you.
Have a great day, pal. Thanks for the info. 5670560 pound. How's our thing? I'd rather vote for Monty Hall than Gus Hall. At least Monty Hall, not number one, he's Canadian. Number two, he's still alive. If the election were being held today, who would you vote for U.S. Senate here in the marginal state of Florida? Bill Nelson, 16. Bill McCollum, 11. Willie Logan, 1. Willie Logan won. He'd be the chigger in the woodpile, baby. Willie Logan. He'd be pissed off because the Democratic Party snubbed him. So first of all, he endorsed Jeb Bush, and then Jeb Bush came out with his damn anti-affirmative action thing, and all the starches got all bent out of shape. And then Willie Logan says, well, guess what? I'll run and try to throw this thing to Bill McCollum. He wants to be the Ralph Nader here in Florida, screw up the goddamn election. But so far, Willie only got one vote. Here's a mobile in the Gables. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad I got through to you. I'm a long-time listener. In fact, I'm also originally from Rochester, New York as well.
Well, nobody's perfect, yeah.
I know. It took me 26 years to get out of there. Anyway, Neil, I just can't believe. I mean, certainly this is an election where the lesser of two evil is going to win.
Yeah.
But Gore, I mean, I just can't imagine anyone possibly voting for Gore and using as a criteria Bush's personal history. Gore is as dumb as night. He is a liar.
He's dumb. He's dumb based on what?
Several reasons. Number one, he's promising all things to all people.
No, sir. I don't want a bunch of glittering generalities. You said he's dumb based on what?
Based on the fact that number one, he's promising all things to all people.
Okay,
number two,
sir, you can't have a conversation. Go back to Rochester. In fact, they wouldn't take you back. They'll probably stick your ass in Cobb's Hill. You're an idiot. Nobody says Gore is dumb. They may say he's a liar. They may say this, a lot of things. They may say his personality is like a statue, which is true. But nobody anywhere has the audacity to say that he's dumb. And again, everything being relative, and you're talking about the lesser of two evils, compared to Bush, he's a goddamn rocket scientist. In fact, compared to Bush, my little miniature pincher is a genius. So you can continue obfuscating and throwing up all the crap in the air. When I ask you a very specific question twice and you come back with the same non-answer, that marks the end of our conversation, sir. I would see you at Don and Bob's, but I don't think they would let you in there. And especially since I went to school right next door to Don and Bob's at Brighton Elementary School, I don't think that they'd let you in there either. Because even the elementary school kids that are going to school right now at this moment, as I speak, are certainly far more intelligent than you are. You see, the rest of us thinking, living, and breathing people can't envision. In fact, many people came to me at the game last night, and they all, except for my friend Ron, of course, who's a lifelong Republican because of the money factor, and is a cop-out and a sellout. Good guy, but a cop-out. But other than that, every single one of them said the same thing. They can't believe that anybody could vote for someone as obviously dumb as George W. Bush. It's written on his face. There it is. It's written. It's on his forehead. It says, "Look at me. Can you believe how dumb I am?" No. That confused, deer in the lights in the headlights look. Like, duh. Huh? Please, somebody show me where I am on the map. Far right wing suffers in silence as Bush strays. I'm going to start reading these articles, okay? I'm sick and tired of listening to all you stupid bushlickers out there who can't conduct a conversation because you don't have the facts on your side. You've got nothing on your side. And now you're starting to get real panicky because every goddamn poll, one day it's one way, when it's so goddamn close you don't know whether to scream or eat Chiquita's banana. That's your problem. Cynthia Tucker, editorial page editor of the Atlanta Constitution, hardly a neoliberal newspaper. She says, far right wing suffers in silence as Bush strays, but the strings are ready should he win. This has no doubt been a challenging election season for James Dobson, Pat Robertson, Jerry Falwell, and other icons of the ultra-conservative wing of the Republican Party. They've had to keep their mouths mostly shut, stay mostly out of sight, and watch as George W. Bush publicly distanced himself from much that the fringe right has stood for over the past 2 decades. What a change from just 4 years ago. Then every major Republican politician was required to kiss the rings of those self-anointed arbiters of morality and family values. These days, Mr. Bush and his vice presidential nominee, Dick Cheney, regard any public recognition of Messrs. Dobson Robertson et al. As the kiss of death. But egotistical, power-hungry, and publicity-seeking though they may be, the Reverend Robertson and his right-wing brethren have dealt with it. They've resisted the temptation to chastise Mr. Bush too loudly or too often, to demand a public vow of fealty, or to do anything to frighten off the independent voters Mr. Bush needs to win. They're much too desperate for that. After 8 years of wandering in the wilderness of presidential politics, the religious and social right believe they're within a hair's breadth of having in the White House a man who will do their bidding. Even if Mr. Bush has given them the stiff arm lately, they believe they can control him if he wins. There is no reason to believe that Mr. Bush harbors the same harsh and narrow social views that they do. He seems genuinely dedicated to diversity and socially tolerant, but there's also no reason to believe that Mr. Bush would do anything to stop the fringe right from pushing its gay-bashing, woman-hating agenda into law were he to be elected. After all, the most outrageous exaggeration that Mr. Bush has offered during the campaign, among a host of his distortions that the Washington press corps has chosen to either ignore or downplay, is his insistence that he will lead. Of all the characteristics that mark Mr. Bush's tenure as governor of Texas, leadership is not among them. As head of a state with a weak governor system, Mr. Bush mostly went along to get along. He never took on the Texas death machine, despite reams of evidence that the criminal justice system there is riddled with racism, incompetence, and error. He never challenged the Texas Republican Party, whose official platform would repeal all minimum wage laws and abolish Social Security, and declares that homosexual behavior is contrary to the fundamental unchanging truths that have been ordained by God. He never stood up to the big business interests that dirty the air, pollute the water, or defy regulation. Given Mr. Bush's record and wimpishness, the retro-right feels certain it can pull his strings. So they've mostly stayed silent when he declared that he would not attempt to outlaw abortion until a lot of minds are changed, or that he wouldn't try to revoke the FDA's approval of RU-486. They knew he was prevaricating on the second point anyway. Just a week or so earlier, a Bush spokesman said that Mr. Bush would try to overturn FDA approval of the drug. And they pursed their lips and grit their teeth when Mr. Bush and Mr. Cheney, whose daughter Mary is a lesbian, refused during debates to mimic the religious right's reflexive condemnation of homosexuality as an abomination. Indeed, Mr. Cheney went so far as to say that people should be free to enter in any kind of relationship they want to enter into. That probably provoked private fits from the Reverend Falwell, who once took out after a PBS puppet aimed at toddlers as an agent of the homosexual agenda. But he and his fellow travelers were able to mute their rage, confining their dissent mostly to comments on the websites of their respective right-wing organizations. They figure that if Mr. Bush can just hold on and not mangle any more syntax or mix up any more world leaders, the fringe right will have, as NRA executives once put it, a president where we work out of their office, and they're probably right, says Cynthia Tucker on the editorial page of the Atlanta Constitution. Nice going, Cynthia. Oh! They're probably right, as in far right. And speaking of the NRA, in the last month, the National Rifle Association has contributed $950,000 to the George W. Bush campaign in the last 1 month. Almost $1 million alone. Philip Morris Tobacco Company, which, by the way, my friend Ron's got a lot of Philip Morris tobacco stock. He mentioned to me in passing and didn't realize what he was saying. Philip Morris Tobacco, #1 contributor. National Rifle Association, #3 contributor. The pharmaceutical companies, #4, and the big oil companies right in there in the top 10 for the Bush campaign. The great polluter and seller-outer of your rights and seller-outer to corporate interests. With or without the booze problem, with or without a nose problem, with or without any of those problems. A bozo, a puppet of the dangerous right. So we don't need any other reasons. But if Larry Flint's ready, we're ready. 4 before 11 at 560 WQAM.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale, a Beasley Broadcast Group station, and WQAM.com for the world.
Were you fudge packer?
No, the Aflac casting call.
All right, Tom Brokaw.
Tom Brokaw. Aflac.
Again, Tom?
Aflac.
One more time, Tom.
Aflac.
I'm losing the second part. One more.
Aflac.
Next. Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Yes, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Stop saying what I'm saying.
I'll tell you what I'm saying.
Aflac. Again.
Aflac.
Again.
Aflac.
Next. Jesse Jackson.
Aflac.
The
Aflac.
Jesse, I'm sorry, but the duck is white. Next. Woody Allen.
She's nuts. I mean, it's a duck that talks.
Stick to the script, Mr. Allen.
It's crazy. It's insanity.
Read the line, please.
Why would a duck speak?
Next. The great Sean Connery, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Sean Connery.
Welcome, sir. Just read the line, please.
Ah, fuck.
Excuse me, sir, again?
Ah, fuck.
Sir, I'm sorry. That second part of the line, I don't...
I'm simply saying, ah, fuck.
Next! Oh, God. I guess we got Gilbert Gottfried over here. All right, give it to me, Gilbert. One more time, Gilbert. Well, Gilbert, I pretty much hate you, and I think you're terrible, but you're the closest thing we got. You got the job.
11:02 at 560 WQAM. See, we can't really take a poll either on presidential or the Senate or anything else because as soon as we do, and it takes usually about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and that's exactly what it took this time. And then they get the word out, and all of a sudden, all these people who aren't even listening to the show. For example, Bill Nelson was ahead of Bill McCollum by about like 35 to 17, something like that. And now all of a sudden, it's 35-35, and Willie Logan with 10. Does anybody believe that?
No.
And I guarantee you, the next couple of flashes here, probably by 11:30, Bill McCollum is going to have 600 votes. It wouldn't surprise me. But I enjoy doing that because it goes to show you the degree of desperation. Just like that fax we had from the guy who was talking about how they're doing this on all the polls on every website all over America. The degree of desperation. These are the right-wing nutcases. Desperate. And especially getting more and more desperate, rattling their spears now that they see the last couple of days that the polls are really so damn close as opposed to over the weekend when they thought Bush was really opening a big lead. In fact, even on CNN yesterday, in spite of their now giving Bush a 5-point lead nationally in a popular vote, they showed 5 of the battleground states, including Florida, where they showed Gore 4 points ahead. And other than Oregon, where Bush was 4 points ahead, Gore was ahead in every one of the other states. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, and I forget what the other one was. 4 out of the 5. So these nervous Nellies out there probably just having a fit, a Schmidt fit. Here's a call in Naples. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
That last caller was a complete idiot.
Which one was that?
The guy who was talking about Gore's intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, Bush is ignorant. Or Gore is ignorant. I asked him why, and he can't answer the question.
Yeah. Let me bring up the point about the Rand Corporation study.
Yes?
My parents have a good friend whose daughter works for the corporation. It's in Southern California. It is an extremely conservative organization.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a left-wing liberal think tank.
Yeah.
This is a very conservative organization. His own people are telling him he's lying. There's just no question about it.
Right.
The kids, the testing is rigged.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are very stressed in that state.
Mm-hmm.
When you put testing as the only criterion, you put a lot of pressure on the kids. They're not allowed to learn at their own level, you know? So these kids are stressed out.
All they're doing is teaching them to pass a test.
Yeah. So the dropout rate is much higher than they really have been reporting, too, because a lot of these kids are just getting pushed out of the system.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't make it, we're going to push you out of the system. You become invisible. Well, guess what? You don't matter. So, I mean, his own people, this is a very conservative...
But isn't that interesting how the media put this kind of stuff like on page 20 like the Herald did yesterday? The Sun Sentinel didn't discover the story at all. And the thing about the Patient's Bill of Rights and the fact that he lied about that and that he... Bush lies, blatant lies, policy lies, and that stuff gets ignored. And yet if Gore is given a little bit of misinformation like about the girl standing, whether she stood in the classroom in Sarasota for 1 day or whether it were 6 months or whatever, then right away, oh, he's a liar, he exaggerates on everything, and yada, yada, yada. It's shocking to me.
Which wasn't true, by the way, because there were other students who were standing.
That is correct. And the media did correct that, but it's like putting it on page 98 right under the obituary.
It's too late. It's after the fact.
Yeah.
And let me point out one other thing, too. I think people talk about Al Gore as being... He is somewhat stiff, but I'll tell you
Somewhat stiff?
Well,
stiff as cardboard.
Let me ask you this. Did
stiff
you
as a cigar store totem pole Indian, yes?
Did you see that Al Smith dinner about a week ago?
No. Oh, yeah, I'm glad you bring this up. Last night, where the hell did I see it? I wish I was when I got home from the game after that bitch was confronting me in front of the arena. I turned on Bloomberg TV to see what the futures were in the markets. And they ran a clip of he was campaigning in Arkansas yesterday, Gore. And I thought to myself, I wish I had the tape rolling. If this man would campaign and speak the way he did there, he would be 50 points ahead. I mean, he was talking natural. He was loose. He was forceful. He was really coming out with a heavy good, ripping the hell out of Bush. It was great. And I thought to myself, where has this Al Gore been the last 6 months?
Yeah.
He was great.
He was funny at that dinner. He came out, you know how he got bashed about interrupting, and he comes out and he's like, well, I'm sorry I interrupted your dinner, you know, and everybody's looking at him.
Yeah, no, well, this wasn't funny last night. This was just great, no-holds-barred campaigning. It was I don't know where the hell he came from.
But when Bush got out there, his sense of humor was so stupid. It was like he came out and he said something about
consistent.
Bill Buckley when he was at Yale. He started a party. I started a few parties myself.
Yeah, and finished them too. Okay, have a great day, pal. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T. The market's taking a serious dump this morning, just like I predicted. The NASDAQ's already down 80 points.
Oh!
Well, I mean, sorry. And the Dow's down 45. Now, listen, I understand. I saw that asshole Barton Biggs they had on the other day, and you know, he may just have a point. Because I talked to Mitch Hirsch yesterday, and Mitch Hirsch says, oh, well, I think we've reached the bottom. And that convinced me we have not. Because if Mitch Hirsch says, take a quick left over here, I immediately turn right and do a U-turn, as a matter of fact. If Mitch Hirsch says, turn left at the light. So I'm thinking to myself, it would be a great time to start, like, liquidating a lot of stuff and getting some cash ready. I mean, very substantial amounts of cash, because there are going to be some great buying opportunities when we finally do get to the bottom, like after the election. Here's the mobile in North Miami. Hello.
Neil God.
Yes, sir.
And this is my comment about politics. I'm neither a Republican nor a Democrat.
Yes?
I look at the election here as trying to pick the most philosophical interpretation of the right to the American dream. And I believe that, you know, as much as I think Bush is an idiot, I think he employs the right people and the right sub-companies of the government, which, like Norman Schwarzkopf and Colin Powell and these people.
Sub-companies of the government.
Well, I don't think they...
Let me ask you something. What sub-company of the government does General Schwarzkopf work for now?
No, he doesn't. But what my point is...
What are you talking about?
Is that Gore wants small government, but yet it's the biggest business nationally and internationally. And if you need... I think that to run... So
in other words, we're just going to have anarchy? Are we going to abandon government? You're buying into that crap about big government?
No, but they need to employ smaller communities with their own laws instead of demanding federal regulations for education.
In other words, how about states' rights? George W. loves states' rights. You know what states' rights is, don't you, sir? You know what that's code for?
No.
Okay, well, look it up. Have somebody explain it to you. Oh my God! I'm telling you. You know what we need? We need the voting police on election day. Oh, and I did see that volunteer park thing, and it's not like some big arena or whatever that guy was talking about. It's like a fire station there, Victoria Park or whatever they call it, on the corner of Sunrise and 118th. It's like a little fire station there in that park. And if I can't vote in there, I'll go a few other places and vote, because I'm going to be voting many times anyway. They're not going to know the difference. 567. How about some counterfeit voter registration cards?
Oh!
I know just a man in Miami who can see to get those. Oh, and also the reason that the Bush people are getting real nervous is in all these polls in southeast Florida, Gore is ahead of Bush 61 to 32%. Now, I want you to stop and put on your thinking cap for just a second. You know where the gray matter used to be inside there? Put on your thinking cap. If Gore is ahead 61 to 32 in southeast Florida, and you take out the green tooth element down there in Little Havana, can you imagine what that leaves? So no wonder a lot of you waspy people calling in here seem very, very insecure and very lonely, because you don't have a lot of company down here. Most of the rest of the people here see through this crap. Oh. 9 minutes after 11 at 560 QAM.
This bandage, I f***ed him. Oh! Can anyone explain what the reason is why? Never won election or held office in her life. I guess it comes down to being Billy's wife. Where have you gone, Ricky Lazio? Are you in the witness protection plan? Man, oh man, where have you gone, Ricky Lazio? You've become the invisible man. Get a plan, for God's sakes, man.
11:15 at 560 WQM. Democrats sue Bush on seal use. That's Jeb. The Florida Democratic Party on Wednesday filed suit against Governor Jeb Bush and the Republican Party of Florida, asking for a statewide apology for the wholly inappropriate and shameful misuse of the state seal in a get-out-the-vote letter penned by the governor. The party is also asking that any absentee ballot request received by election supervisors as a result of Bush's letter be returned to the sender, with or without Elvis. Democrats claim a letter Bush wrote urging Republicans to cast absentee ballots was illegally decorated with the official state seal. It's unbelievable. It is to be used for official state business, not for partisan politics, said the lawsuit filed in Circuit Court in Leon County, home of the state capital. The seal is supposed to stand as the official symbol of the tremendous weight and power of the people of Florida. Unfortunately, the Republican Party of Florida has demonstrated that to them, the great state seal is nothing but a prop to be subverted at will for its own political purpose. The GOP last week said it had used an older version of the state seal, lifted from the state flag as a watermark on the letter, and a spokeswoman for Bush scoffed at the lawsuit. Yada, 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 yada. How do you like that? Also, here's the thing that says many people, he's got friends who say they're not going to vote because they think that if they vote, they'll serve jury duty. I hate to break the news to you, but it's no longer got to do with voter registration rules or anything like that. It has to do with your driver's license. If you have a Florida driver's license, they can call you and bug you for jury duty. So that's a really lame-ass excuse for not voting. Here's a fact from somebody obviously highly motivated who says, it's the court, stupid. Oh! I am appealing to all voters, those who believe in controlling their own destiny, to cast their vote for Gore/Lieberman. The risk of electing a president like George W. and giving him the opportunity to appoint federal judges, let alone Supreme Court justices, is more than frightening. Abortion will become illegal. We'll have prayer in the schools. The rights to express your sexual preferences will be nullified. And we'll have guns in every church and school. This year, it's more than the economy. It's the courts, stupid. Vote for Al Gore and Joe Lieberman and keep choice alive. Oh! And this poll of ours, of course, like I said, it's totally bogus. But I guess maybe they backed off a little bit because they don't want to be too obvious and put all 600 votes in there at one time. On the U.S. Senate race, we got Bill Nelson with 56, Bill McCollum with 56, and Willie Logan with 15. Oh, yeah. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Yes, sir. How are you today?
Okay.
I plan on voting for Al Gore, as we all should.
Yes.
However, don't you think that your constant bashing of Mr. Lieberman might have a negative effect on his vote due to the limited mentality of most of your listeners?
What does that mean?
Well, you're
not that I'm supposed to sit here and lie. No, I will. I'm relentless in my criticism of Mr. Lieberman because he makes me nauseous. He makes me want to puke, and because I'm grossed out by his wearing of religion on the sleeve and this attempt once again to make him part of the God Squad and try to drag us all into that stupid vacuum of his.
I'm not arguing that point with you.
He's nauseating, and it was an act of political stupidity on the part of the Gore people to pick him.
I'm not arguing that point with you. However, just a little food for thought.
No, I'm not going to think about it. I don't do this show based on calculating. Well, let's see, should I say this or should I? I let it all hang out. That's what I do.
Maybe you should if you want Gore elected, as we all do.
Sir, don't call the show and tell me what to say, okay? It's a waste of your time because it's not going to happen. Maybe I should. The answer is absolutely no. I'm not easing off on Joe Lieberman. He's unctuous. He's nauseating. And I'll say it again, I'm not the one that debated Dick Cheney and sucked his earlobe for 90 minutes that night. That was your man Lieberman that sat there like he was at a goddamn tea party, like he was at a Passover Seder. Well, gee, I don't know. I thought we had a very socialized and civilized dialogue on the issues. And then they took the poll, and 2-1, Cheney people said Cheney seemed more qualified to be presidential than Lieberman because Lieberman's a wimp and a mouse. And just like this crap he was hawking over there at Notre Dame, first he's down there at Jorge Mas's tombstone, sucking up to the old Cubans who aren't going to vote for him anyway. And then he's up there the other day in Notre Dame. And speaking of being up there at Notre Dame, I just might point out, in the newspaper today from the Herald Wire Services on the inside, the page 3, new questions are raised on Pope's silence during World War II, which I won't waste my time with right now. But you might just want to take a look at that, since Mr. Lieberman was up there sucking around at Notre Dame and talking about how we need to inject more religion into American society and how we have to have our morals are all based on a higher power and all this other bullcrap that he espouses. He makes me puke. So that's one thing about me. I don't sit here and avoid letting certain things out because it might be politically expedient, like I'm controlling the election, if you believe that. But you really shouldn't say those things, even if they are true. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Let's get the show on the road here today. Let's wake up and smell the goddamn dandelions, okay? Here's Pembroke Pines. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Great show.
Yes,
By
it
the
is.
way, I'm not as old as you are, but I can go back as far as a kid to Eisenhower. And never in the history have I ever remember a dumber, least qualified guy for running for president as George Bush.
Yeah.
And if America votes for this guy, then we ought to go to the couch and get our head examined.
Mm-hmm.
Him and that sick-looking guy who's running for senator, McCarthy.
Howdy doody. Okay, thanks for your intellectual call, sir. McCarthy. 5670560. And this other guy's worried about am I being too tough on Lieberman? The guy said it himself. We got the average mentality out there owes points, not just in this audience, just in general. That's America. You can't complain about the education in this country because there isn't any. McCarthy. Although he is right, he looks like howdy doody. Here's Pembroke Pines. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how are you today?
Pretty good.
Hey, when is this article in Hustler supposed to come out?
Yeah, what does that mean, when is it supposed to come out? What does that mean? How do I know when it's supposed to come out? Or if it's going to come out?
Okay, I didn't know. You've been talking about it. I've been hoping and waiting to see.
Well, and nobody is hoping more than I am. I'm squeezing it right now. I'm praying. I'm getting on my knees and praying to Buddha and Allah and Jesus and Moses and Abraham.
All righty.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, I'll let you know. You'll hear it here first. And of course, one has to really wonder if they do have the goods here, if it's ever really going to see the light of day anywhere, if anybody will publish it. I mean, Larry Flint can publish it. Every good red-blooded American reads Hustler magazine.
Uh-huh.
You bet. Well, they just read the articles. 5670560. How's that line 6 doing? Anybody fix that yet?
No.
No. And Bluff, of course, is on vacation, and nobody's running ship here as usual. And we found out how to get Troy Stratford in here who gives me a song to dance. All I'm trying to tell him is that the recorded spot is 100 years old. And he's trying his best to impersonate.
Roy!
Huh? He doesn't care? He doesn't care. Well, how would it be if we gave the account to somebody who did care?
Who's we?
We. Me.
Somebody who cares?
Me and Charlie.
Oh.
Me and Charlie out here, my good close personal friend. How about if Charlie called and said, my AE is a piece of crap, and how about somebody else handling this account? So that you don't lose all the revenue, and I've been on with you for like 500 years. How about that? There's Clarence who's going to get the phone line fixed.
He's the one in charge, by the way.
I know that. Don't you think I know that? That he's the temporary acting PD. You're not going to get no Oscars yet, but the week is still like we got tomorrow yet. He's the acting PD. I give him like 20 years for overacting. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Hank is back today, is that correct? Is Hank back? Hank's back today was he in New York? Am I right about that? He's not listening. Anyway, Hank is back at 2. He's got Beano Cook at 5 this afternoon. Hurricane Hotline at 6 from Bremen Honda. And then we got World Series game number 5, the last game of the series this year. Yankees will beat the Mets tonight, get it over with. And Bookster. What does that say? Oh, I see. That was if necessary. No, Bookster will not be on. Eddie K after the game. Here's a mobile Invoca. Hello.
How you doing?
Great.
Got 2 quick things. I was at the Specs at Miami International. I wanted to buy your CD. I asked them where it was. They didn't know where it was. I finally found it. And then I said, is it a good one? And he says, I never listened to the thing. So that's number 1. Number 2 is...
Miami International, what do you expect? Just be glad you were able to find it. Kiss the ground.
All right, but number 2 is I'm in the Halloween business. I have the Halloween shop down there, and we are now, with an unscientific poll, we have sold 73 Gore masks and only 6 Bush masks.
All right. All right.
All right, so I wanted to tell you, this is unscientific, but we have, and most of my customers are 40 and under. I have sold 73 Gore masks and only 6 Bush masks.
Of course, probably most people, they look at Bush and figure he's already got his mask on, by now. Oh! Great news, pal. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
God bless America. How do you like that? There's the scientific poll. Yeah, bye-bye, W. And all your right-wing lunatics. This is their last gasp. America said
no.
92 to the right-wing lunatics. They said a big fat 96, overwhelming. And now, in spite of the desperate attempts by the goddamn big money interests, the tobacco companies and the oil companies and the goddamn National Rifle Association and the pharmaceutical... Oh, that's what Gore was railing about last night, about the pharmaceutical companies. He was giving them an ass burning. It was great. I wish I would have had that tape running. It was one of the greatest speeches I've ever heard in my life, and he was just raising hell and letting Bush have it and just cutting him down to size where he belonged and cutting away all his lies. And about the fact that he's beholden all the goddamn special interests, including the goddamn drug companies, and won't do a thing to lift a finger, not just for senior citizens, but all of us, including yours truly, who have to pay through the nose for prescription drugs and being held up with a gun. at the drugstore because your pharmaceutical company, because we have to be worried about Eli Lilly and about all these other goddamn, Pfizer. And all you people at CNBC, we're on to you too. You're not fooling us. You're not fooling us. You may be up there in Boca with all those goddamn lunatics, but you're not fooling us for a second. All they care about is give me the money, 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 money. That's all. And what's good for Wall Street, that's all they care about is big business. 70% of the CEOs for Bush, 3% for Gore. And the rest don't know who the hell they are. The rest are too busy stoned out of their minds, getting all bent out of shape after their stock just went down 60% in one day. We're it's not down enough yet. It's down today, but we want to see it down triple digits. Huh? Way down.
Yeah, man.
We want to get that NASDAQ down to that Barton Biggs 2,500 number would be good. 26 past 11 at 560 WQAM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
George or Neil, whoever it is, you can tell your big, fat, fucking atheist he has no right to talk religion because he is a faggot and he is not representative of our thinking.
Ladies, are you tired of unwanted hands creeping into your panties? Unwanted hands creeping where they shouldn't be?
Uh-huh.
Then you need Vajomatic.
Vajomatic?
Yeah, it's the first feminine protection that really helps.
Oh, Ron, yes, that feels good.
Oh, baby, let's do it. Yeah, work it, sugar.
No, wait.
Come on, kitten.
No.
But I bought you dinner. Let me just unzip it. You see, Vajomatic is fantastic. It really works. It's good against muggers, rapists, drunk husbands, priests, horny uncles, and Martina Navratilova.
Let me just set this on Cherie.
Vajomatic. And coming soon for the fellas, it's Cockatool.
Fantastic.
It was the greatest TV offer ever, the fabulous Ronco Vegematic. And now, attention ladies, in the labor-saving tradition of the Vegematic, Bobbit Co. presents the all-new Vagematic. Vagematic, the first feminine hygiene product that offers more than just feminine protection. Here's how it works. Your husband Earl is an abusive, alcoholic loser, and he's come home again late on a Saturday night.
Hey, baby, it's me. I'm ready to party.
Actually, dear, I'm rather tired. I'm going to sleep. You're drunk, and I don't want you to touch me.
Earl doesn't know it, but she's inserted her brand-new Vagematic feminine protection device.
Hey, let's boogie, baby. Ready or not, here comes Earl.
Earl, I must warn you, I'm wearing my new Vagematic, so please leave me alone.
Vagematic sounds kinky, baby. Let's do it.
I'm warning you, don't do that.
Oh, my God! Help me! I'm bleeding! Hey, my
Don't tell you when I said no, I meant no.
Give me back my...
I don't think so. The Vagematic slices and dices and a puree.
No, not puree!
They won't be able to sew that back on. It's Vagematic, real feminine protection from Bobbit Co.
What are you gonna do with my honey?
I'm making sausages. Here, Fido.
Oh, no, what sausages?
Vagematic, pitch the Ginsu knives, throw out your machete, and try a Vagematic. It slices, it snips, it mutilates, and it's beltless, and it even makes julienne fries.
No, not julienne fries. Oh!
Vagematic from Bobbit Co. Call now and receive a free pocket fisherman and our handy home suture kit.
Hi, I'm Lorraine Bobbitt. When it comes to feminine protection, nothing cuts the mustard like a Vagematic.
Vagematic. Order now. Call 1-800-866-7426. That's 1-800-86-ORGAN. 11:33 at 560 WQAM. Our poll is really rolling along there with the phony votes. I think we got about 40 phony votes from McCollum. It says McCollum 77, Bill Nelson 69, Willie Logan 17. Is anybody buying that? No. So any attempt to take a political poll anywhere on the internet, including this show or anywhere else, is it's hopeless. But Jonathan Coopersmith who's an associate professor of history at Texas A&M University and teaches the history of technology and is a writer for the History News Service, writes in the op-ed page in the Sun Sentinel today, when Al Gore allegedly claimed he invented the Internet, comedians, pundits, and Republicans had a field day mocking him. The amusing humor and misrepresentation of what Gore said hides the deeper issue about the relationship between political patrons and how technologies develop. Gore's actual role in the development of the Internet reveals just how important patrons are. Technologies don't suddenly emerge like popcorn from a microwave. As they progress from idea to reality, technologies are pulled, pushed, shaped, prodded, and otherwise subjected to the actions and inactions of people they touch. And without resources to evolve and grow, even the most promising technology will remain only an intriguing possibility. Creating the fiber optic network, along with the server, software, and other components of what became the Internet, didn't differ from the creation of hundreds of other new technologies in the past. It demanded decades of work by skilled people, lots of money, and many supporting technologies. Like jet aircraft and interchangeable parts, the Internet was financed and promoted by the federal government. Government decisions, like those in the business world, do not occur in a vacuum. Behind every major invention and inventor stands a patron. For the Internet, Al Gore was that patron. The historic image of a patron is a supporter of the arts, but technologies need support too. Try to imagine the history of the space program without the commitment of President John Kennedy to send men to the moon. Kennedy didn't actually build the gigantic Saturn V rocket that launched Americans into space, nor do patrons of the arts actually paint the art that now graces museum walls. They do, however, supply the resources, usually financial and other support, that make it possible for others to do the work. Elected representatives may advocate the development of new technologies. Yes, one tends to find promoters of pork barreling directing money to specified projects more than true patrons. But distinguishing the two is easy. The patron works openly, not covertly, to advance his or her favorite technology. The benefits do not flow only, if at all, to the patron's home state. And finally, the patron promotes a broad vision instead of a specific project. So what did Al Gore exactly do and claims he did? In May 1999, Gore told CNN's Wolf Blitzer, during my service in the U.S. Congress, I took the initiative in creating the Internet. This quickly was mutated into, I created the Internet, and became part of the presidential campaign. As usual in the history of a technology, the truth is more complex. As a congressman in the 1970s, Gore was a leader in introducing computers into the Congress itself. When he was a senator, Gore sponsored several bills making the federal government a catalyst for the information superhighway. While only the 1991 High Performance Computing Act became law, his constant prodding gave the concept high visibility within government and among academic and industry leaders. More important, Gore was responsible for mandating the 1987 Reagan White House policy study of government computer networks. The 1991 law directed more than $1 billion to connecting computers into national networks linking universities, schools, and other institutions. Even more important than the money were the goals of improving public access, creating digital libraries, and pushing unclassified technology from the military into the public and commercial spheres. These activities laid the foundation for the explosive growth of the Internet in the mid-1990s. In sponsoring his 1991 bill, Gore envisioned a national network that would provide for teleconferencing, link your computer to millions of computers around the country, give you access to huge digital libraries of information, and deliver services we cannot yet imagine. Not a bad or inaccurate vision. Gore did not claim he wrote programs or built computers. What he did as a congressman, senator, and vice president was more important. He promoted a national policy to transfer defense-funded computer research to the private and educational worlds and to promote universal access. Some may argue that the Internet would have developed anyway. While true, it probably would have occurred with less public and educational access, and it definitely would have developed at a far slower pace. Gore's early initiatives helped shape the Internet into a more open and universal system with more access to federal and universal databases than it would have otherwise done. We, the citizens, have benefited directly because of this. So writes Jonathan Cooper-Smith, Associate Professor of History at Texas A&M University.
Oh!
How do you like that? But don't confuse him with the facts, because he's a big liar, you know, and dumb. And don't be picking on that Jew Lieberman. 22 before noon at 560 WQS.
Neil Rogers is my lover.
That's incredible to me. Incredible. What an embarrassment.
Every time I have to look at George, I can't help noticing how much he snorts. All that cocaine rotted his brain. Inside his nose, nothing else remains but nasal passages. That's why George always snorts He has no nasal passages. He bought a team to inhale the perfect life. He was born into money, but he's so goddamn dumb. Without it, he would be a homeless bum. Life of the party in his college days left him with 2 cells full of bread and no nasal passages. That's the reason he's forever weak. He has no nasal passages. I bought my ticket and I'm holding my passport tight.
Well, that would be really bad news for the Bush suckers, wouldn't it? 3 to 4 days of Larry Flint stuff maybe coming out. That's the last word we just got, and of course we can't verify that. But supposedly the legal beagles are checking who's naughty and who's nice, and the ins and the outs of it, so to speak. And within 3 or 4 days, what do you think the impact of that's going to be for the Bushmeisters? Now, here's the facts. This is typical. From right-winger Ray, your stupidity. Here's the facts. It's funny how you have a caller call in you and say, Al Gore is stupid. You ask him, how is Gore stupid? And because the man tried to answer you with something you didn't like to hear, you hang up on him. First of all, let me interject right here in this fact. He didn't answer with something I want to hear. He didn't answer, period. He went on with a non sequitur. I gave him a second chance, and he came back with the same non sequitur. And at that point, yes, I did hang up on him. Because like most people who have no basis in fact, he refused to have a conversation. Now he goes on to say, then you turn around and call George W. Bush an idiot and stupid. You're a reason for calling this because he looks stupid. Really bright reason, Neil. Nothing but put downs. Typical liberal. Well, is that the reason that I say he's stupid is because he looks stupid?
No.
That's only a part of it. The overwhelming majority. Haven't I been reading from this book, Is Our Children Learning, by Paul Begala, for weeks on this program? Haven't I been giving you specifics? Haven't I been giving you specific quotes? Well, I'll give you some more, okay, Mr. Right-Winger? New York Daily News, February 19th. George W. says, I understand small business growth. I was one. Interview with Associated Press, March 8th. He says, it's evolutionary going from governor to president, and this is a significant step to be able to vote for yourself on the ballot, and I'll be able to do so next fall, I hope. NewsHour with Jim Lehrer, April 27, 2000. Governor Bush. The picture on the newspaper, it just seems so un-American to me. The picture of the guy storming the house with a scared little boy there. I talked to my brother Jeb. I haven't told this to many people, but he's the governor of, I shouldn't call him my little brother, my brother Jeb, the great governor of Texas. Jim Lehrer, Florida. Governor Bush, Florida, the state of Florida. Los Angeles Times, April 8th. I was raised in the west of Texas. It's pretty close to California, in more ways than Washington, D.C. is close to California. Beaufort, South Carolina, February 16th. How do you know if you don't measure if you have a system that simply suckles kids through? During New Hampshire Perseverance Month. During Perseverance Month in Nashua, New Hampshire, January 28th. He says, this is Preservation Month. I appreciate preservation. It's what you do when you run for president. You got to preserve. Maybe he had Schmuckers on his mind, huh? Maybe he looked in the mirror while shaving in the morning and thought of Schmuckers. During New Hampshire Perseverance Month, he's talking about preservation. You got to preserve. Mason Adams says, be sure and preserve. And spread it on real thick, which is what he's been doing for months, George W. So we're not just saying because he looks stupid. We got facts. We got quotes. We got, and of course, everybody in America has heard all of his butchering of the language. And a man who has no idea who the foreign leaders are, who admits he don't know where Kosovo is on a map, he is dumb. Dumber than sawdust. As a matter of fact, since you want to push me, mister, with your facts, here's 8 million more facts for you. Howard Kurtz, Washington Post staff writer, writes, today, faced with a very real possibility that George W. Bush could win the White House in 12 days, some left-leaning journalists are flat out calling him dumb and blaming the press for not persuading this country of his utter unsuitability. The question of Bush's IQ has been a campaign subtext ever since he flunked the Boston TV reporter's quiz on foreign leaders. Well, now with the election on the line, some of Bush's critics have come out of the closet to advertise their disdain. Slate editor Michael Kinsley writes that journalists' reluctance to call someone who well may be our next commander-in-chief a moron is understandable. But if George W. Bush isn't a moron, he's a man of impressive intellectual dishonesty and or confusion, he says. Author Todd Gitlin says in Salon that Bush gives ample evidence that he doesn't hate reason. Bush has gotten a pass on most of his slipshod ways, while journalists are embarrassed to point fingers at a non-entity who's within 2 weeks of the presidency. In the International Herald Tribune, former assistant editor Hope Keller declares, most American political commentators today are so timid, so mealy-mouthed, so committed to a distorted ethic of fairness that they're unable to state the obvious about George W. Bush, that he's unfit to be president. Rich Lowry, editor of the conservative National Review, sees a little whiff of desperation in such accusations. A lot of liberal journalists don't want to admit that there have been issues that have worked for Bush. He says, citing education, healthcare, and tax cuts, you get a sense of why is Gore blowing it. Not everyone believes Bush's lack of policy wonkiness is a liability. Robert Bartley, the Wall Street Journal's editorial page writer, writes that Bush has no intellectual pretensions. He's not even afraid to say that he consulted his advisors, or to tell us that he's dumb. But Bush's critics are almost apoplectic. Gitlin, a New York University professor who calls Bush an airhead, sees a collective abdication by the press. There's a bending over backward phenomenon because a lot of reporters lean Democratic, he says. They're in a state of recoil against the charge of liberal media. It's obvious that this is a lightweight who's been given a pass his whole life. There you go. That sentence right there says it all. There's a lightweight who's been given a pass his whole life, who's really failed in all his own efforts to do anything he's done, whether it was the oil business, whether it was trading Sammy Sosa from the Texas Rangers, whatever the hell it's been, a total failure. Who always gets somebody to come along and prop him up with their goddamn big money, because that's what he's all about, and those are the puppets pulling his strings. As in...
Only $50.
Right. Here's Fort Myers. Hello. Fort Myers. Okay, well, go back and kill a bitch and then call us back. Here's Plantation. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay.
Talk about skewing polls and things of that nature. You know, that's a typical trick. I mean, if you ever watch like guys like Ralph Reed when he comes in, if there's 2 billion people in the world, he says 2.4 billion are evangelical.
Right,
If you ever see, like, yesterday or the day before when Limbaugh was on and saying, well, Gore's up in the polls, he would say, oh, don't worry, that's not true. None of this is true. None of it's true. You'll see. The other thing you have to understand...
And then as soon as Bush is in the polls, they start screaming with playing the trumpet in the background. Look at this, we're ahead. To give you an example, now on my poll today about the Senate race, McCollum's got 122, Nelson 82, and Willie Logan 19. Totally bogus, totally distorted, and there's no credibility there, so who the hell are they kidding?
Well, they were trumpeting the Rand study in July as being the Bible, and now they're saying those same Rand people are not credible.
Right. The Rand study that came out 2 days ago was a later one. It was through 1996.
The one self-issue that people should know, and this is one of the main things, and it's about the court system, is that in the first 30 days of Bush's Texas governorship, he passed 7 civil justice reforms closing the access to the courts for little people. For instance, he increased the bonds a little person has to pay if a doctor screwed up on them. He also increased the burden of proof in Texas courts. I know it's a technical issue, but it raised the bar for little people to actually seek redress in the courts, among other things. He passed like seven civil justice reform bills in the first 30 days that he was in office. The guy is not for little people, that's for sure.
Amen.
Thanks, man.
Okay, have a great day. Here's a great from the New York Times on Sunday, the editorial cartoon. The Bush Dream Supreme Court. And it's got pictures, and they all look very similar, and it says left to right standing, Thomas Scalia, Scalia Thomas, seated Thomas Scalia, Scalia Thomas Scalia. Oh, you know, that's almost enough to inspire me to play again and again. Come on, light one up, Clarence. What do you got there, sweetheart? Pass it around, bro.
There we go. Hey, y'all, my name is Clarence Eugene Thomas, President Bush's nominee for the Supreme Court. And you know, there's lots of people out there that think just cause I smoked a little marijuana when I was in college. Yeah, it wasn't nothing but a pen joint. Well, maybe a cigar-sized joint. I don't remember, y'all. That they don't think I'm fit to be on the Supreme Court. Yeah, I got the munchies. Let's do this quick and get out of here. I want to set y'all straight. When I stop reviewing the law, I don't just review the law. Hell, y'all, I be toking. And I toke it to the east. All right. And I toke it to the west. Yes. And I toke it while I look up Sandra Day O'Connor's dress. Oh! I be toking. Let's go burn one, y'all.
It's the court, stupid. It's 11:53 at 560 WQM. Here it is, the 26th of October. The 26th of October. 12 days away. And to think that they're actually, and again, you look at this selfishness, like I don't want to single out my friend Ron there, my former friend from the hockey game, who, like I said, in other respects is a good guy, but his politics are all based on selfishness, and he's willing to look the other way, because he's not one of those fetus-hugging kind of people. He couldn't care less about those things. Jews for Bush, like I said before, it's like, and the same thing with gays for Bush. It's like gays for Jerry Falwell, and Jews for Hitler. Same thing. Self-hating. Don't confuse me with the facts. I have an ass to grind. He's going to save me some big bucks. Here's Pompano Beach. Hello. Pompano Beach.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I work as a poll person, and it's the American apathy about voting's ridiculous. 2 months ago, we had 105 people at our polling place.
Mm-hmm.
3/4 of them were foreign-born. What's wrong with America? Parents are teaching the kids what it means to vote. We had a Haitian gentleman come in the last runoff when we only had one person running.
Right.
With his son about 5:30 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid asked him, Dad, why'd we come today? We only voted for one thing. He said, because in my country, you can't vote. And if things screw up here, if you don't vote, don't bitch.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's all I've got to say.
Good luck, my friend. Thanks. Okay, I'm voting 60 times to make up for some of the other apathetic idiots, plus I'm a lot better informed than most of them anyway. I'll be educated. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Let's get rid of this poll because it's already been screwed up by the right-wingers. We just can't take one of those polls on anything political because they just got to get in there and they get their little circle jerk going, and before you know, and it always starts like after it's been on there 35, 40 minutes. And the word goes round and round, like Perry Como would say. We'll come up with a better question. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a position on the state attorney's race in Dade County?
No.
Have you followed it at all?
No, I have not.
Have you read about the New Times article?
No, I have not.
Well, you're always talking about police brutality. Do you really want somebody who's that closely aligned with the Police Benevolence Association running the state attorney candidate?
What are you asking me? I don't even know what you're talking about. I just got
get into this, Neil. You're always talking about police brutality. We have a guy now who's running for state attorney in Dade County.
Yeah.
Who is being heavily supported by the police. And the reason they're so mad at the current prosecutor because she has prosecuted many police officers. You're always talking about that, and I think you ought to get involved in that issue and talk about it a little.
Okay.
New Times article.
We got it right downstairs. I'll get it.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
We got a New Times right down in the lobby. Right? Right. And Shitty Link, too. 56705. I mean, he asked me if I read it, and then he acts like he's indignant because I haven't got involved in it. I don't know. First, I don't live in Dade County, so it's hard to keep up with those pressing issues. But I will take a peek at it. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless lines.
Sports Radio 560, WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale, a Beasley Broadcast Group station. WQAM.com for the world.
Hey, baby, I'm going to use you as a sex toy.
That's with Madonna, jitters on my feet. Footprints on the wall from where she put her feet. She's got bad hygiene, doesn't wipe too well. Not to mention how my digit really smells. Big pop star, she really needs a shower. Left all her bacteria on my towel. She don't come close to smelling like a virgin. Scrape off the skull. Sex with Madonna. Now my hair has lice. Can't believe I did it with that Yankee dime.
Trouble 1 at 560 WQAM. Another one of my favorite Bushisms is I am hard against quotas. Quotas, they basically delineate based upon whatever.
Huh?
The case has had full analyzation and been looked at a lot. I think anybody who doesn't think I'm smart enough to handle the job is underestimating. In other words, dumb times 10. So anyway, 1970 is the year. A little more stuff is leaking out about this alleged hanky-panky of George W., this alleged abortion that he paid for, this alleged woman who's waiting in the wings, and they have 4 sworn affidavits alleged. And it looks like it may be coming any day, so to speak, and maybe leaking out of here. She's evidently holding out for a little more cash. But the fact that they have sworn affidavits could bury him. Wouldn't you think it's going to bury him?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't be making issues out of the youthful indiscretions.
That's right, youthful indiscretions. That's right, just like Henry Hyde and his youthful indiscretion when he was in his 40s, sowing his wild oats. He was just a late starter, a late bloomer, as in blooming idiot. Here's a lady in Weston. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Great.
And my husband and I are driving to Fantasy Fest, and we were hoping that, on a lighter note, you might consider playing the Star Trek bit.
Playing what?
The Star Trek bit with Captain Kirk and Spock.
Which one? There's about 8 million of them.
Which one is it? I guess anyone will do.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Have a safe trip. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye. Or John McLaughlin would say, bye-bye. You still haven't watched that. I think tonight's tonight, or tomorrow night's tonight. McLaughlin and Company on PBS. And also it shows up on, depending if you're channel surfing on the cable, that they're like elsewhere on there, like 16 or 17 on my cable. I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah, 17. I think that's...
whatever that is, yeah. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Don't forget the best of Neil CDs and cassettes are waiting for you at all spec stores all over South Florida and also in Naples and Fort Myers, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. You can go to neilrogers.com or WQM.com to order yours, and also the keychains, which are only available that way. All proceeds benefit Planned Parenthood of South Palm Beach and Broward counties. All shipping and handling being donated by Pac Mail Centers of America, 965 North Nob Hill Road and Plantations. And no, Ron, I will not take your donation under any circumstances because I don't want you to subsidize those baby killers. Here's Fort Myers. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Neil?
Great.
I got a little problem. Last night I tuned in on the website there to listen to the Panthers pregame show.
Yeah.
Did you listen to it?
No, I was there.
Okay, well, the first 3 calls were about Dolphins calls.
Uh-huh. What do you expect?
Well, and you know what? And Geldy took the calls when we were talking about the Dolphins.
That's really sad. That's pathetic. Geldy, you ought to be drawn and quartered for that.
Really. I mean, it's, at least, he's working for the organization, right? So
the organization, right.
Right, and so, at least you would want to support the organization and just, like, say, okay, call like in the morning.
Well, I mean, for example, on those 80 million hours they have before the Dolphin game on Monday night this week, you wouldn't hear anybody calling and asking about the Panthers during the 4 hours of pregame for the Dolphins.
Oh, heck no, and they wouldn't be calling about the fusion either.
Right, that's right.
That's definitely
or the confusion.
Hey, speaking of that...
Well, you see, that goes back again to the host having enough balls who's controlling the thing, having enough guts to control it and say, hey, listen, Dumbo, this is the hockey show. We got the hockey game coming up. Save your Dolphin stuff for the other 20 hours a day.
What do you think management would say if he was doing the pregame show for the Dolphins and somebody called up and asked about the Heat?
Click.
Yeah, exactly.
You bet.
Hey, can we get a little bit of the Geldy song then?
Okay.
All right. See you, Neil.
See ya. How do you like that? That little twerpy Geldy without the balls, too, And I realize it's difficult. I don't even know what they're bothering taking calls on there for anyway. It's like those scat calls they used to have after the game. Oh, let's go to Debbie on a mobile, and here's Lou. Here's old Lou. The same 2 people every day who had absolutely nothing to say. Wouldn't know a hockey puck if they stuck 45 of them up there.
Rectum.
Oh, that thing came up again on that the server. The server's getting upset. Here's Margate. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I listen to all these stations talking about Gore lying and Bush lying. The quickest way for a politician to lose an election is to tell the truth. They don't expect to hear the truth from any side.
Yeah.
The only issue that really concerns me is the Supreme Court, because everything else you can't believe one word any of these guys say. They don't mean a damn thing.
Yeah.
I've discovered through my lifetime that the truth always loses. People can't handle the truth. They don't want to hear it. Give them all the lies that they make them feel good, and the one who's the best liar wins all the time.
Yeah.
What are your feelings about that?
I don't. That's a little bit too cynical even for me.
Oh. Well, I see you can't handle the truth either.
What is it?
I see you can't handle the truth.
No, I don't think that everything Clinton told us in '96 when he was running was a lie. I don't believe that. Most of it is lies. But so in other words, I don't agree with you, so I can't handle the truth either. Is that it, sir? You want to take a shot at me? You asked what do I think, and I told you what I think, and therefore you can't handle the truth. You sound like like Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise in A Few Dumb Men. That's what you sound like. Yeah, I'm as cynical as almost anybody about politicians, but I mean, you make a blanket statement like that, which is on the face of it is idiotic. Most of it is bullcrap, yeah. And I do agree with the part about the courts, that's correct. But because I don't agree with you 100%, therefore I can't handle the truth either. I'm an emotional cripple, sir. I'm just not as strong and as brilliant as you are, and I apologize. I'm fumbling my way along, doing the best I can. And I thought it was my show you were listening to, not your show that I'm listening to. I thought that's the way it worked last time I checked. I could be wrong. That damn Dow is in the plus column. I'm not too happy about that.
No.
Sell, baby. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Let's, I can't come up with a good poll question today. You ever come up with a different one every goddamn day? I thought this one would be interesting, but they've already ruined it. Even before noon, they had this one spoiled. No, it can't be anything political. Can't do it. Which is a real shame, but it goes to show you the desperation and the lengths to which these people go because they're trying to delude themselves. How are they going to delude themselves on November the 8th when they wake up in that morning? How are they going to delude themselves when Bill Nelson beats the snot out of Howdy Doody? What are they going to do? And when Elaine Bloom cleans Clay Shaw's clock. And yeah, I read that article in the Herald by that fag that writes that fag column in the Herald every week about Elaine Bloom and her gay son and yada yada and about how she did this and said that. I got news for you, sweetheart. Clay Shaw isn't your friend or my friend. Neither is the Republican Party. Idiot, self-hating fag. What crap gets written, man? It's just pathetic. Maybe this guy will elope with Alice Rantel. 8 minutes past noon at 560 WQAM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Get off your shot.
Josie, talking on a sports show, trying to be macho. Your voice sounds just like a 7-year-old girl.
Yes.
A little sports whole show. What else are you there for, Josie? Talking like a baby who needs a little training. Why can't you understand? You don't sound like a man. Remove the rubber band that chokes your throat. Come, Jody, you're lucky man, it's don't tell. 'Cause Jody, you don't belong there on the air. And Jody, the sports can wait till your voice cracks. 'Cause anyone who sounds like that should find another job. And they should only take you back when both your BBs drop. So Kelsey, when you gonna grow up? You make us want to throw up. You silly squeaky fool. Go to broadcasting school. Your prepubescent voice makes you sound like a hut. You're a hut. Oh! You're a hut.
Somebody else can explain for me that Jody on game night, as pathetic as this is, I mean, this is a really lame excuse. But at any rate, the first half hour is like general sports talk on that Geldy on game night. Then from 6:30 to 7, they go to hockey talk. Pretty weak. Pretty damn weak, especially when it's called Geldy on game night. Was it a football game night? No. Was it like a soccer game night or an NBA game night here? No. It was a baseball game night, but that was like after the game, and that was like, it wasn't here, was it? No. World Series that nobody's watching or paying much attention to, except New Yorkers. It was the Panther night. And God forbid that we should do too much to promote that, even though we have the games here.
Toronto on the league's third shot on goal.
See, that's the way you deal with the girls' team. You beat the crap out of them 6-1, almost 6-0. They blew the shit out with a minute and a half to go. That's okay. Cujo will survive. That's the way you deal with the girls' team, boys. You beat the snot out of them. You score 4 goals in the first period, and you coast on through the rest of the game. You don't wind up with an overtime scoreless tie like another girls' team. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless lines. Out of town is open, 877, they can't hear us anyway, 877-785-6345. Here's Kendall. Hello.
Neil, my man.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Okay.
I'd like to address just three things so some of these Republican Neanderthals understand.
Don't be repetitive now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Number one, the thing about that you're reading about right now in the New Times, just to get everybody up to date. He was talking about the canker police. I'm talking about Rivera, which is the PBA president. And he has brought in a shill from Broward County. He had to be here 6 months before so he can run against Catherine Rundell. Okay? And this guy here likes to beat people up as a prosecutor, likes to beat people up in courtrooms if he's losing. That's what the PBA brought in.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, if they want to feel like they're in a fascist state or a United States, Jeb Bush has already started it here in this state by letting the canker Gestapo do whatever they want to in people's yards, cutting down good and bad trees, and also signing an executive order to that effect. Okay? There's your fascist state. There is something in this country called the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Let them read, if they can, the Fourth and Fifth Amendments of the Constitution. Okay? And that will tell them that there is due process, if they understand it.
Okay.
Okay, sir?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless America. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless lines. 600 or 700 open lines. Now we got an hour and 43 minutes to go before Hank enters the scene here. Here's a mobile in Cutler Ridge. Hello.
Neil, I generally disagree with you on every single issue, but I want to see if maybe we can agree on one thing today.
Mm-hmm.
In the Miami Herald on page 19A, there's a story that's titled Foreign Aid Bill with Debt Forgiveness Clears Congress.
Yeah.
And what bothers me about this is the 41 poorest countries in the world, the United States is going to knock $435 million off the debt that they owe us, which is roughly $10 million a country.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what the big deal is there. I mean, $435 million, that's like less than half of what we pay for one airplane. And then I don't know why they included this in the same article, but they point out that we're given $840 million to Israel in economic aid.
Yeah.
So what I don't get is Israel is certainly not one of the 41 poorest countries in the world. We're giving them $840 million.
Now, the reason we're giving them that money is because they're the only buffer we have in that part of the world. And if the Arabs didn't have all that oil, we wouldn't give a flying crap about Israel. It has to do with that has nothing to do with the fact that they're a democracy. It has to do with the fact that they're a buffer.
It says in the article we're giving Israel $1.9 billion in military aid.
Yeah.
And $840 in economic aid.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm saying is I don't understand why $435 million for the 41 poorest countries in the world and $840 million for Israel.
Because they don't have any nuclear weapons.
That's probably the answer.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Have a great day. I told him the answer the first time, but he didn't like that one. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Oh, you shouldn't say that. You got to be more Jewish and more supportive of Jew Lieberman and of Israel. Huh?
No.
No, I will not. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless lines. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hi, Neil. Is it me on?
Sounds exactly like you.
Okay, I gotta thank you for all the entertainment you've given me over the last few days. There's nothing more entertaining than listening to pissed off tree-hugging pansy liberals. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye. Nothing more entertaining than hearing a hit-and-run, cowardly, right-wing asshole, which we just heard. Bye. See, I hate to break the news to you, but I had an hour and 40 minutes to go, sir. I have another hour and 40 minutes, which I'm not going to waste any more time, ripping you an ass because I wouldn't dignify with it. Little hit-and-run twerk. 567-0560, and let me say it again, in South Florida, Gore 61%, Bush 32. So you're right in there with all those right-wing Julios. It's really fascinating to me, because the overwhelming majority of calls we're getting here from the Bush lickers, you notice that? Which is fine with me. We don't need any ditto heads out there. This isn't like the Lard-Ass Limbo show where we want ditto, because that's boring. But it's amazing that these are a lot of the same people that were having a nervous crap in their pants over Alien and all the stuff that was going on in this community for month after month after month, and all the people going out in the streets and doing the thing, and the fact that this town was torn into pieces, having a nervous breakdown. And yet now, isn't it interesting that they're in bed politically with those very same people? Because if it's only 32%, it doesn't leave too much room for more than the green tooth Julios down there. They represent a substantial part of the population, especially in Dade County. Strange bedfellows, huh? Birds of a feather gravitate together. As in... Yeah, dumber than sawdust. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Neil, a question for you. With your big support of Al Gore...
Wait, what do you mean by big support of Al Gore? What does that mean? What does that express?
You're obviously in support of Al Gore's presidency.
I'm in support because I'm against Bush. I'm against fascism. That's right.
Okay, well, how do you feel about having Gore in office and then having Tipper as the first lady who will pretty much take away a lot of the rights of the
Tipper isn't going to take away any... Sir, Tipper isn't going to take away anybody's rights. First ladies don't take away rights any more than presidents take away rights. My naive, idiotic friend. It sounded to me like the guy with the eyes. Yeah. And boy, there's one which I'm sure he can vote anyway.
Explain me that, Lucy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, listen, I've encountered a lot of cretins like him.
Penniless and Jewish.
Right. Oh, exactly. But Tipper's going to come in there and take away everybody's rights. You know, this is what cracks me up about the Native people, like Donahue. Gets on there and pontificates, he's for decriminalization of pot, and we're going to eliminate the U.S. military, and we're going to do this and do all these wild, radical things. And even if you agreed with all of those things, the president can't do those things. Is there one member of the Green Party in the U.S. Congress?
No.
No. Is there going to be after this election?
No.
No. So what's Ralph Nader going to get done in Congress? Is he going to get any of those things passed?
No.
Of course not. Of course not. That's what really just astonishes me. Well, it really doesn't. Not anymore. Because I do the show every day, first of all. And it's nothing new. The American public has been dumber than dirt for decades. I think ever since the advent of television, that's when people really start getting just dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber. And just listen to the show, and you don't have to take my word for it. Believe it. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Neil, how you doing?
And I guess the guy with the eyes hasn't heard about that great We Love Cretins bill that Tipper's introducing. Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Just want to say thanks for keeping me sane in this third world country down here. I'm from Boston. Went to the hockey game last night.
Oh, you were the one. Now, which section did you have to yourself?
Actually, I wanted to share with you the 3 comments I heard you'd only hear in Florida at a hockey game.
Okay.
The first one was the genius behind me that discovered about as much as Christopher Columbus when he thought Burry, number 10, might turn into a pretty good player.
Uh-huh.
The second was the guy to the right of me yelling all game long, "Go, Captain! What do you say, Captain? Do something, Captain!" I couldn't figure out for the life of me what he was talking about.
Yeah.
He was talking about Mellenby.
Right.
And the third was people who were left to me that they noticed that Laurel was going back in the icebox. And I didn't know they started freezing the penalty box.
In the icebox. Well, I think there's something symbolic about that.
Yeah, and then I like the commercial too on your radio station that says, Burray, the leader in goals, Whitney, assists, and Kozlov, takeaways. When did they start making that stat? Takeaways.
Well, they took him away after the game with his bad shoulder. They took him away. In fact, they should take TM away. We'll make you a nice deal, TM for Pat Burns. We'll take him and pay a salary.
Hey, you should. I think TM's a little soft for these guys.
He's history, man.
I just wanted to say that even though Gore's about as smooth as sandpaper, there's no way I'd put someone in office that should be wearing a pink jofa with a chin strap real tight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Anybody have any idea what he's talking about?
No.
No, or him. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T. And go back and call Jerry Williams, okay? I think he's on the 90-plus show up there in Boston now on WRKO. He's on from like 3 to 4 in the morning when all the insomniacs are up. What is Jerry, 110 this year?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. My good old buddy Jerry Williams. Good night, good luck, goodbye. Bye-bye. 25 afternoon at 560. I don't understand what any of these people are saying. And you know something? It doesn't make a bit of difference to me. It doesn't make a bit of difference to me. Because it all sounds like that. It really does. After a while, you do this long enough and it just yeah. You don't have to worry about it taking anything memorable home with you to, chew on, so to speak. And let me say it again, I got my silly putty in my hand thanks to Peter Leonard. It's about the only good thing he ever did for me, plus that spaghetti sauce. But I'm squeezing it right now in the putty too. Don't be shaking my hand at those hockey games or any place else, okay? Don't be shaking it. And if you're gonna shake it, don't squeeze it so tight. I'm sure you can relate to that. God.
When you touch it, hurts.
My girlfriend got a bullseye haircut, boy, she looks like Aunt Hay. Alright. My girlfriend got a bullseye haircut, I didn't know that she was gay. Good thing I'm not a homophobe, these truck driving sites won't leave us alone. All day long, the phone is buzzing with all the lesbians looking for some muffins. My girlfriend got a bullseye haircut, so to get more proof, I got a bullseye haircut too.
1231 at 560 WQAM. Our poll is all screwed up. I'm going to leave it on there, though, just to see how many thousand votes. Let's have a pissing contest between the, you know what I'm saying? Between the fake votes on the one side. And Jonathan, who faxed me that thing the other day about how the liberal people, the more progressive people are like catching up now with these fakers that are loading up all the polls. Let's see if that's the case or not. NeilRogers.com. If the election were held today, who'd you vote for U.S. Senate? Bill McCollum's got 155, about which about 100 of those are bogus. Bill Nelson's got 116, and Willie Logan's got 23, which I'd say 20 of those are bogus, even though he is the chigger in the woodpile. 567-0560, pound 560. And that guy from Boston calling in, I have to laugh. I mean, yeah, we don't have flies in there, and there's nobody down here who knows hockey from crap. But you know something? There's one of the original 6 teams, and they've got all those thousands of people disguised as empty yellow seats every damn game. They don't draw flies up there. Since they moved to the Fleet Enema Center, man, they can't get arrested in that place. And Pat Burns had to be the scapegoat. Because Harry Sindon's a cheap prick. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Okay.
I got to tell you, last night I was asking some. I'm a Gore supporter, by the way. And last night I was out and I was asking a couple of people. I said, look, you don't have to answer, but who are you voting for? And they said Bush all the way. And the first person I asked, I said, why? And their answer was, because Gore is such a liar.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first answer.
Mm-hmm.
The second answer was, to another person, they said, look what Clinton has done to the White House.
Yeah.
What kind of answers is that? That's
Dumb.
ridiculous.
Dumb.
That's what the Bush supporters are saying. They don't have any clue as to why they're even voting for the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought
they're just a bunch of ditto heads, that's all. They just, whatever lines they feed them that sound really good, the smooth, rehearsed lines, they just keep repeating over and over again, and those people suck it up.
Well,
I mean, you don't think that they're going to run a guy like Bush and appeal to intellectuals, do you?
No.
They're appealing to the masses who are morons, and they're doing a pretty good job of it.
And it's scary, because there's a lot of them out there. And all I know is all the Gore people, just make sure you get out and vote.
4 or 5 times. Okay, thank you. Yesterday they're showing on CNN, which continues to be tilted very hard toward Bush. Even though now they're saying he's 5 points ahead in their poll, even though the state polls they were showing Gore was ahead in all but Oregon. And then they said among suburban women, Gore is now, Bush was 9 points ahead, 50-41 in the previous poll. Now Gore is 5 points ahead among suburban women. So then they go somewhere in the Midwest to some suburban town, and they've got this group of a half a dozen women. 5 of them are Bush supporters, and 1 of them was for Gore. And usually the network says, you know, if you watched any of the news, they go bend over backward. They'll interview 2 people, and 1 will be a Bush supporter and 1 for Gore, and then maybe a third one who's either for NATO or undecided, to try to give the appearance at least of balancing it out. Not CNN. In fact, I think CNN is in a pissing contest with the Fox network to see who can turn the most right wing. I think Bob Novak's taken over a bloodless coup. 567-0560, and that Mary Magdalene bitch. Pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless lines. Here's a mobile in Fort Myers. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, Neil. How are you?
Sir, okay.
Listen, I'm a Gore supporter, and I wanted to say to some of your callers, you know, Neil, at least you're fair. You take calls from Republicans as well as Democrats. It's like the other day, that guy that was honest with you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. To even get on the Lord Limbo show,
forget it.
You have to prove that you make $500 million a year.
You have to fax them a copy of your American Nazi Party card before they'll let you put on.
Exactly. So Neil, you know, and some of these callers say, Neil, you're entitled to your opinion. Neil, I really do hope you do go national. Thanks for taking the call, guy. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks a lot. Hold your breath. Are we going national?
No.
No. So that we can actually talk to some living and breathing people. Of course, we talk to some dumb people from all around the country, but at least there would be a variety as opposed to the guy with the eyes. The agent provocateur. Oh, yeah, Tipper Gore. Yeah, Tipper Gore's going to take away your goddamn Partridge Family records. I'll tell you that right now. Because a guy, an adult like you, a supposed adult who's in his 40s walking around smelling like a toilet, shouldn't be listening to Partridge Family records, okay? Should be listening to something a little bit more timely, like maybe 98 Degrees. Yeah, that's right. I think they may be a little bit more your type, especially that cretin one there, Justin. He's your type. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Sorry, Justin. Here's a mobile in Coconut Creek. Hello.
Yeah, Neil.
Yes, sir.
A couple serious questions. One, the Chinese thing with Gore. The only thing that worries me,
Yeah.
if he did take the cash, you know, the Chinese, they're pretty slick. They might have some pictures of him doing it. I don't think he did it, but if he did...
Sure he did it. Of course he did it. Well, when did he do it?
Don't you think that would compromise him if he was in the White House?
No.
Honestly, no.
Well, how about the money that Bush was taking from the oil companies? How about the money Bush is taking from the tobacco companies? How about the money he's taking from the pharmaceutical companies? How about the money he's taking from the National Rifle Association? $1 million last month alone. They'll all be holding a special interest. I mean, did you just wake up and discover that politicians are paid off and bought by special interests?
No. I know he's a slime bag, but that's what I'm saying. One other thing. I was in Wendy's in Boca yesterday.
Yeah.
McCullum come in for lunch.
Oh, my God. Oh, that would spoil my lunch.
No, listen, out of 80 people, I was the only one who recognized him. And he shook my hand and said, geez, I'm glad you had him on. I asked him, I said, you can't pay money that low, you have to eat money.
What did he say?
He did good. No, he just said every vote counts, have a good day, you know.
Yeah.
Politician.
Did he have his tip boots on? Was he Sig Heiling?
No, he had some chick and two guys with him, so, you know, and he had a salad, so.
Oh, he had a salad. Yeah, that's probably all he can afford these days. Okay, thanks for the good news.
Okay,
See ya. Yeah, that Bill McCollum. See, this is the whole thing. This was the game plan. We're compassionate conservatives. Just cliches of nonsense, you know. And the same with McCollum and these ads he's running. Oh, well, I've been attacked by the far right and by the far left. To try to portray himself as a moderate. Now, only the dumbest of the dumb would buy into that. Only people with deep-seated Alzheimer's like Ronnie out there in California would forget about his rabid role in Penisgate. His rabid partisan role in Penisgate. Oh, but he's a moderate. Right. Uh-huh. And the audience loves George, too. See which one of those you believe. I'm shocked at that poll.
I'm not.
Why? I mean, you wanted, like, going away. Hands down. You know, in a runaway.
Yeah.
I think if you told him that you were Jewish, I think you might do a little better. George is Jewish. Come on, say Coxahoist.
Coxahoist.
Oh, not good. Yeah.
Say cocking off and round.
No, not bad.
Kushmer and Tuchus.
Kushmer and Tuchus isn't bad.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Packard can't keep his pecker in his pants.
He ain't gonna be the thing. Emphatically he denied. He was venting his mind. He ain't gonna feel a thing. He ain't gonna feel a thing. So, yeah, every other day. George pushed you back when he was a kid. It was his favorite thing. Are you gonna scorn it from me? He wants the White House to be all here like a big star. So he can live in, he feels like two, or just like the best out of him to the high. That's the way it was. I don't know so much but he denies it today. Lord, would you ever get him to stay?
So Doug in Western Fact says, hey Neil, a couple of poll ideas. Who's the ugliest QAM radio personality? This is the same facts he sang yesterday. It's even got yesterday's date on it. Didn't we already do that? It was 2 days ago. Although the other one he's got on here, which of the candidates' wives would you most like to have sex with? Oh, no. Not at lunchtime, please. God, can you even begin to... Woo! I guess Doug had all those farm animals run off on him up there in Weston. Sorry, Doug. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, hello. How you doing, Neil?
Okay, sir.
Hey,
there's a lot of Cubans here like me who are voting for Gore. You'd be surprised.
All right.
Hey, a lot of Cubans here. And you know what? We are promoting it, and I think the little nonsense is beginning to unravel. I had the nauseous opportunity while I was driving yesterday from work. I could hardly stomach it, but I put on one of those Cuban stations, Radio Mambi.
Yeah.
And who was there talking about this idiot Mario Diaz-Balart, the state representative?
Lincoln Diaz-Balart?
No, his brother.
Oh, his brother. What's on the family? And there's Jose, yeah.
Oh, and the lies that they're telling, and it's so inflammatory. And, you know, the whole thing is Sicilian nonsense. And he had the goals of saying that any Cubans with dignity will not vote for Gore. Of course, I got on the phone finally. I spoke with him and said, listen, I've been here for 40 years. I consider myself to have dignity, perhaps much more than many of the people that you cater to. And I'm a Gore supporter. And I think many Cubans are already here. And it's very insulting when you refer to other people because they're not supporting who you want, that they don't have dignity.
Yeah.
I mean, that is total nonsense. But you should, Neil, if you were just to listen to the nonsense...
Oh, I couldn't handle it. I'd probably lose meals that I ate like years ago.
I mean, I'm surprised at those things that are allowed in this country. I know it's First Amendment rights, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But listen, like I said, I have my passport ready, so I have to go back to Amsterdam.
And don't forget those articles that came out in the Herald that was buried like way in page 85 here a couple of weeks ago, and that they did this big investigative report. All the commentators there on those stations were being paid off to support candidates and say certain positions. And you think there'd be a big scandal about that? Was there a scandal? No. You'll hear about that. No. You'll hear about that scandal the same day you hear more about the cops with that prostitution ring.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that those things don't come out. And let me tell you one thing. If a lot of the blacks who listen to what a lot of those things are said in those radio stations, we'll have a civil war over here. It is amazing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I guess it all goes under First Amendment rights. I don't know. But it's very, very distorted news. And unfortunately, a lot of the old Cuban people don't know better, and they listen to that nonsense
Crap,
the whole day.
Okay, well, that's why you and I got to vote 3 times.
Okay.
Okay, amigo, thanks. Bye-bye. How do you like that? Cubans for Gore, baby. Yeah. Let's hear from a lot more of those people that got the balls, not just to vote for Gore, but to have their voice recognized on the radio, and we wish him very well, and we'll bring him flowers. Because that intimidation factor, I don't care what anybody tries to peddle you, the intimidation factor is still very, very, very much alive and well in Dade County. Don't ever kid yourself, unless you got a very short memory. 5670560, pound 560, and don't anybody let you BS or boon swallow you on the stores that day that they had, that Alien Day. The stores that were coerced and other businesses into closing on that day, including many who started the day by being open and then were given an offer that they couldn't refuse. Yeah. Talk about Banana Republic. Talk about living through intimidation. Talk about a county that's living in fear. Talk about a Banana Republic of bullcrap. That's Dade County for it. And I feel desperately for the decent people who live in Dade County, which I'm sure there's probably, 30, 40 at least, 50 maybe? That's right. Here's an interesting thing. Melvin Greenstein, DDS, Citizens Against the Destruction and Eradication of Trees, cadet, sends me a fax about the illegal confiscation, destruction, and rape of our beloved citrus trees in South Florida without scientific corroboration. We have information from our eminent pathologists, PhDs, Dr. Jack Whiteside and Dr. Heinz Witzer, Cornell University, who contradict the need for eradication of the trees to stop the canker disease, and we're issuing an open invitation to both Bush and Gore to seize this window of opportunity and address the issue of 1 million so far destroyed South Florida citrus fruit trees at a cost of over $100 million of our taxpayers' money. George W. Bush preaches accountability in small government and says, I trust you, the people, while we, the people of South Florida, are outraged by the unlawful destruction of our trees without following the law and providing us with due process under the U.S. Constitution. Maybe he should talk to his brother Jeb. To Al Gore, who preaches that he's the environmental candidate, well, our environment is being ruined right now. If you're going to talk the talk, then you must walk the walk. Writing a book on the environment and just talking about it won't hack it in South Florida. We want either or both of these people to come down here immediately, not after the election, and walk with the citizens of South Florida through the killing fields of our property and do something. We don't just want rhetoric, we want action now, it says. Oh! So rip it up. What? So rip that up. I won't rip it up. God damn it! He says Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties can determine not only who will carry this pivotal state, but determine who will be the next president of the U.S. Mr. Bush, don't you think you have the conservative vote of the Hispanics down here? We're not the divided community you may think. When it comes to our God-given and constitutional given rights, we're not a diverse community, we're a united community. Mr. Gore, get down here now. This is your window of opportunity to become the next president by winning our pivotal state. And then it says there'll be a rally at Tropical Park in Miami this Monday, Friday, October 27th, sounds like tomorrow at 3 p.m., to show the Florida citrus outrage. There you go, George. We invite all concerned citizens of South Florida to show up for this significant rally where we'll discuss a march by we the people to get our servants, George W. Bush and Al Gore, to help us in our fight to save the ecology and beauty of South Florida, which I say, go on, Melvin, and Fred and whoever else is involved in Cadet, Citizens Against the Destruction and Eradication of Trees. And they have a phone number here, I guess, if people would like to be involved to get more information about what they'd be doing, 305-661-0740. 661-0740. And that sure puts the Bushmeister especially in a difficult position because it's his brother who's the ringleader of all of this crap. It's his fascist brother who's the ringmaster and has all these Nazis invading your property and destroying your property and bringing in the police. Yeah, that thing, then they had the brown shirts with them there yesterday in Plantation. That was lovely. Hermann Goering would have been really proud of that scene. Here's Weston. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Remember, you mentioned Ben Novak a little while ago. I remember watching...
Bob Novak, not
Bob Novak. I'm sorry, Bob Novak. Yeah, Ben Novak was an attorney I knew. Bob Novak. I remember watching the McLaughlin group years ago, and Bob Novak, Morton Kondracki, Jack Germond, John McLaughlin be on there, and they would all be leaning so far back in their chairs as they were, and it was always McLaughlin going, issue one.
Yeah.
And I swear they must have been drinking heavy before they taped the show. Because, and invariably McLaughlin would always say, Bob, what's the answer to this, what that I want to hear? And Bob would say something, he goes, wrong. Jack, what's the answer I want to hear? Wrong. You know, he'd go right through the list. If you, just like the little bit that the guys got. It was perfect. So, but, you know that,
Jackie Big Germond.
And boy, Germond was always, you know, when the way as far back as he was leaning that chair, I figured if he goes over, forget it.
He weighed about 300 pounds, yeah.
But now Novak was just a little bit to the right of Himmler, or would you say just...
I'd say about 10 yards to the right of Heinrich Himmler and 50 yards to the right of Attila the Hun.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yesterday, when you talk about CNN and how they're projecting, their projection, I think, as far as their positioning, how right-wing they've become, they had, you were talking about how all these idiots that are thinking about voting for Nader, they had a discussion group yesterday, is a vote for Ralph Nader a vote for Al Gore?
Oh, that's brilliant.
So as trying to perhaps motivate people to recognize, now if you don't go out there and vote for
that's why I'm saying is a vote for Al Gore, a vote for Pat Buchanan.
Yes, exactly. Is a vote for Al Gore, and you mentioned, you wrote a Michael Kinsley article the other day, and what makes me wonder is, where's William F. Buckley? Kinsley used to do his moderation on firing lines. Where's William F. Buckley? You know, he's been very quiet about
he's with the Pope. They're praying a lot these days, yeah.
Oh, and I have a couple of questions. One is, has anybody seen Dick Cheney and Mr. Burns from The Simpsons in the same room? I mean, there's a striking, admittedly one is a cartoon character, which is two-dimensional and for our amusement, but the other one's on TV on The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
And I say we write in the bridge tender.
Okay. Okay, and how about...
Now, from Washington, the McLaughlin Group, featuring Eleanor Cliff, Jack Germond, and sitting in for Pat Buchanan, New York Giant Tiki Barber. Now, here's John McLaughlin. Issue 1, George W. Rings or vault? Eleanor Cliff.
Well, John, I'd have to say.
Wrong! Jack Germond.
Well, that's not an easy choice.
Wrong! Tiki Barber. I'm going to have to say the vote. Wrong! Actual answer, floor exercise.
That wasn't even a choice.
Next issue, Al Gore. Favorite Broadway show. Bring in the noise, bring in the tongues, or cats. Eleanor G, I think you're swallowed off.
Well, John, I'd have to say.
Wrong! Jackie Big Germond.
Well, that's a very difficult choice.
Wrong! Tiki Barber. I'm going to have to say right. Not a choice, Ricky Tiki Barber. You gave an answer last time that wasn't a choice. Wrong! Correct response, cats. He loves them. Next issue, the cats of Big Brother should be murdered. How? Eleanor.
Guillotine.
Wrong! Jack Germond.
Dynamite.
Wrong! Tiki Barber. I don't think they should be killed. Wrong! Actual answer, poison pudding. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. You're right. That is the best of all time. 12:53 at 560 WQM as we continue rolling along, singing our song here, boy. stirring the pot and then smoking it too. Yeah, well, you know Ralph Nader said, yeah. 5670560. Oh, look at this. We got some of the Bill Nelson people on here trying to skew this, but that's good. Let's have a battle of the partisans here on our poll today. That's the only way we're going to get it evened out. If the election were today, who would you vote for U.S. Senator? Bill McCollum's got 169, Bill Nelson 150, and Willie Logan, he'd be the chigger in the woodpile, he'd be having 27. And I guarantee you there ain't no dark folks voting for Willie Logan. Guaranteed that. Or anybody else. Here's Orlando. Hello.
Yeah, hey, Neil. I was trying to figure out my math here. If we take $1 trillion away from the seniors right now.
Yeah.
And of course,
give it to the young people, yeah.
And then they blow it in the market.
Right.
Have we lost $2 trillion or $1 trillion?
Yeah, but then we can have WSL Texas Rangers and we can replace it with that money.
Oh, well, but they'd probably bring in about, what, $500,000?
No, 95 million easy.
Okay.
That would cover it for a couple of days.
All right, well, when the Barnstorm Reform campaign was here yesterday in Sanford, there were some women afterwards that MSNBC interviewed because the W stands for women, the women campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman asked her, she said, well, if he stands for women, then how come he never talks about them?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, I don't know.
Because he's trying to keep it a quiet issue, and because in Florida, anyway, he's getting buried by 10 points in women and in senior citizens, too. Getting buried.
All right.
It's probably going to be more than that. Thank you. And you don't want to bring attention to the fact that he's anti-woman and certainly anti-woman's right to choose. And all this hypocrisy about, he believes in the people. His opponent believes in Washington, D.C., the bureaucrats, and giving all the money then. He believes in big government, but he believes in the people, yeah. And their own free choices, except when it comes to anything. About the only free choice he wants to give you is carrying your piece in the amusement park and in the church and wherever else you want to take it. But other than that, forget it. F it. Or you can't do that either. So won't it be really interesting when the worm turns here in a couple of days, like maybe the beginning of next week? Woo! Boy, talk about devastating. And remember what happened with Bob Livingston? Remember that? You remember that very day that he got up there to make the speech and all of a sudden they were all caught Schmidt-faced? Because nobody had any idea what he was going to reveal because they caught him with his pantaloons down and having an extramarital affair. Mr. Goody Two-Shoes, who was going to be the next Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives? Wrong, that's right. The next squeaker. He squeaked right on out of there. I'm leaving now. Yeah, you're leaving now, all right, with your something between your legs. Just remember one thing, even Republicans have a penis. I think even Lynn Cheney's got one. I'm pretty sure. That's what Dick said. 1256 at 560 WQAM.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale. A Beasley Broadcast Group station. WQAM.com for the world.
Hey, buttheads, it's the 1 to 2 hour.
This ain't a song about a happy couple. Since we got married, my wife's weight doubled.
You're gay.
Thighs like a tree, and she got a big tush. Her stomach so baggy that it covers her bush. It's my wife. I know she's fat 'cause she got more skin than China does. If she sits on me, I won't survive. It's my wife. When she sits around the house, she really sits around the house, you see. If she sits on me, I won't survive.
No.
It's my wife.
Okay, a minute after 1 at 560 WQM. So Doug in Weston is going to be our new poll question comer up with her. Because George, first of all, does a fine show but crappy polls. And secondly, I do fine polls, but I'm a burnout. We can do political ones, but it's, what's the point? When they keep screwing with them. And our poll too. So let's get this off of there, Eric. Right at the moment, it's McCollum 173, Bill Oswald 159, and Willie Logan 27. Does anybody believe that? No. This audience? No, of course not. It's ridiculous. In fact, I'm not even going to say it. So get that thing off of there. That's done. They've killed that poll, just like the one we tried to take on the presidential thing. It works for a few minutes, and then after they hop on the bandwagon, they hop on it, and they're steering it. So Doug comes up with another great question. If you had the choice, would you still live in Florida, move out of Florida and visit occasionally, or move the F out and never look back. Of course, we don't just have to put F. We can write the word out on there, Eric, because it's the Internet. And unlike, the FCC, the FUCC can't school us on a goddamn Internet. And that's another thing, this business about freedom of speech. Well, F them. That's what I say to the FUCC. Screw them. Bastards. There's the poll. If you had the choice, here are 3 choices. Would you still live in Florida, move out of Florida and visit occasionally, or move the F out and never look back? Move the FU out and never look back.
I'd come back and visit, just to remind me why I left.
Yeah.
How nice it is.
I had that condo, that one on, the one in Hollywood, where my mother's living right now. I bought it. 5, 6, 7. See, the one thing I can't deal with. See, I've known people over the years who are philosophically opposed. I'm not assuming that everybody I associate with has to have the same philosophy as I do. Although I will admit I'm very, very uncomfortable even being around right-wing fanatics. I can't stand them. They make me nauseous. But when I'm around people who are when I realize that they have selfish reasons for their political views, it makes me nauseous. It makes me want to vomit. I don't want to mention any relatives who live in Hallandale or anything like that with their $40 or $50 or $60 or $70 million who are constantly voting for Republicans because it's good for their pocketbook as if they really need it. You know what I'm talking about? And just like my good friend Ron, who I know knows better in his heart because he's a good, decent guy, but it just pains me, Ron, that it's sad. It's really sad. Because I know you're not a fetus hugger, and I know you're not one of those Bible thumpers, but that's really what you're in bed with, and it's really kind of smelly. Isn't it getting smelly in there?
No.
Yeah. Isn't it? 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T. Must be the Slim Jim. It's going to my head. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Neil?
Yes, sir.
You are absolutely correct. I talked to my parents last night, and it killed me.
Yeah.
They're voting for Bush.
Oh, no. Well, maybe
no,
exactly.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. This guy is a moron.
Yeah. Well, how old are your parents? Are they out or something?
Well, I'm adopted, so...
Oh, I see. Well, that's a good cop-out anyway. Don't blame you.
Yeah. Buffum Gore. But you can't change them. They're too old. They're like 65 in their 70s.
Yeah.
You can't change them. They're Republican. They're going to stay Republican. They're going to vote Republican, period.
Even if Mickey Mouse were running. Well, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, but it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry, I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. I'm not paying attention to you anyway, so just don't be nervous.
What are you doing?
I'm squeezing my putty here. Yeah, I got it in my hand right now, and I'm squeezing it very gently, and my putty too. I got to recover, man. I got to do my rehab.
Did you hear that George Bush quote? They were at a fundraiser, or I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's a fundraiser or a roast.
Yeah.
Where he said that some people call you the elite. I call you my base. Did you hear that?
No.
No. You didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah, that's true. You're gay. No.
Well, John McLaughlin would say, wrong.
No, that's true. I heard it. It was on the news.
Great.
I can't believe you didn't hear that.
Didn't hear it. Oh, listen, have a great day and tell your parents.
Okay, adios.
Lock them up on Election Day.
Buffum Gula.
Okay. Yeah, give them the old Italian salute and tell them stay on Election Day, okay? It's dangerous out there. 567-0560, pound 560. And, of course, the sad part of it is the old folks, they do vote because, I mean, it's something to do. It's a project. Well, don't say project. There's Brian Murray calls coming in again with BM. We're not starting that again, are we?
No.
Oh, I'm not going to blow the whole audience off. That mistake I made. Remember we had that great book when we first came on this station, and then I got sucked in that again. That bad mistake with hockey stuff. Just like the Chris Wells thing over there when we were at Paxson. Twice in my life I've made that big mistake. Plus those awful goddamn hockey shows that somebody talked to me into. I don't want to mention his name, even though he said Schmidt on the PA last night at the arena. Never again. I got my Joe Bowen highlight. I got my 30 seconds of comments about whatever went on in the arena, and that's it. And, of course, the comments about that woman had nothing to do with the hockey game. It had to do with her. It had to do with her whole ambiance. And, of course, she calls in and even admits that her mother hates her like poison and says she's an asshole, which I commend her for her honesty anyway, and her bad breath. Here's North Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Pretty good.
What's happening?
Not much.
You're doing a great job, and I agree with you almost with everything. I want to ask you something regarding the media.
Yes?
You don't think that the media did a good job regarding the candidates, putting each one of them exactly the way, they made Gore look the tough man and at the same time rude,
and
Yeah.
aggressive.
Oh yeah, some of these women in that thing, the suburban women yesterday. Oh, well, gee, after watching him in that third debate, he scared me to death. I wouldn't want any part of him in there for 8 years because he was forceful. I guess they like the wimpy routine. Maybe they like
Exactly. And the same thing about Bush. He's allowed to do mistakes.
Yeah.
He's allowed to give like a false report about his success record and what's going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
And just at the same time, what I think is going to be happening right now, finally the media it start to come to the issues, to the policies, to everything each one of them standing for. And I was like hearing CNN with Judy Woodruff yesterday interviewing the third party, the Green candidate.
Yeah.
And like she's putting him, and you hear like she's even feel more bad than anybody else the way he's taking votes from Gore. And I think that's what's going to happen in the end.
No, I disagree with you because every time the independent candidates run, like when John Anderson ran in '80, every time they run in the polls they do a lot better, and then people go in there and then they help them maybe get 2% at tops, Nader, maybe at best 2%.
Well, I hope that dummy will never gonna get to the person.
And I can tell you how many. I'll tell you how many votes Buchanan's going to get. Behind. That's it. Have a great day, pal.
Thank you, Neil.
Hang in there. I'm going to vote behind times myself in the morning, and then after work behind more times, and then right before 7 o'clock when the polls close behind 9 more times, just to be on the safe side. It's not. It's behind minutes after 1. Well, it's sitting there. I mean, why the hell not use it, baby? If you don't use it, you lose it.
Only in the Banana Republic, baby. Only in Miami.
And he gets home round 3:30 with a snooze full of cocaine. From another day of pandering to moralistic states. And tap dancing round questions from those assholes in the press. But he's always so good.
Yes.
And he's always so fine. He was born so wealthy, so the spoon up his behind. He's a well-connected, power-grabbing, self-entitled, presidential dabbler. And he'd like a fancy job, but he's always had the best. And it makes a fine addition to his demi-task desk. And ego supplements to show he's better than the rest. But he's always so good, and he's always so fine. He was born so wealthy, golden spoon up his behind. He's a well-connected, power-grabbing, self-entitled, presidential dabbler. And his father picked Dick Cheney, 'cause he knows his son's a stink. So at home he can sit back, relax, and simply pull the strings. And that stunt that he has for a son can just sit behind the desk. And he's always so good, and he's always so fine. He was born so wealthy, golden spoon up his behind. He's a well-connected, power-grabbing, self-entitled, presidential dabbler.
1:15 at 560 WQM. Here's a fact that says, I'm outraged. My 3 grandchildren go to school in Dallas. The public school has a rally to get the kids to tell their parents to vote for Bush.
Hoy!
Not that it'll make a difference. He's going to win Texas overwhelmingly, but nevertheless, it says, since when do our tax dollars supporting the school system have the right to get children involved in one political campaign? It's Grandma in Pompano who says, real women vote Gore. I agree, Grandma. This is a lady's voting for Gore. You bet. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. The new poll is up. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Neil Irvin, how you doing?
Okay.
Been listening to you forever. But here's my thing, 2 things.
Where's your thing?
When Willie declared himself a free agent, Willie Logan, that is,
Yeah.
you know, there's no one in the Northwest community going to vote for this guy as a free agent. We're going for Bill Nelson.
There you go.
That other guy,
Howdy doody.
The manager. I'm a manager.
Yeah.
I'm a manager.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they wouldn't even let him on the Senate floor to present his case.
He couldn't manage the Cubs.
And not only that, 60 Minutes about 2 weeks ago did a story on Bush and the education system. Just a little nervous there. They did a story on the education system. They interviewed the teachers, and they show that the students there cannot pass the entry exam because they are so geared to learning the test.
Right.
It's the test. They're teaching the test.
But they're not really learning anything.
But they're not learning
that state test, yeah.
They're not learning the 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So last Sunday night on CNN at 10 o'clock, they did a story on Gore. So this Sunday night on CNN, at 10 o'clock, they're going to do the story on Bush. So I would like for all of your listeners to watch this program and see the history behind the guy. And come Monday, let us know if they still feel the same way about Bush.
Okay.
You got my vote.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Go all the way.
All right.
All right.
Just say
no
to Willie, the chicken in the woodpile, Willie Logan. If you had the choice, would you still live in Florida 3, move out of Florida and visit occasionally 3, and move the F out and never look back 2? We have just 8 votes. The thing just went on there. I wouldn't dare say how I voted. As in move out and visit occasionally. Yeah, like when it's too cold in Amsterdam.
Yeah, visit mommy.
5670560, Palm Boy, you really are. You know, talk about the pot calling the kettle black. He's sitting here talking about he wishes his mother would jump off the Empire State Building. And then, yeah, visit mommy. I gotta go see her in a little while, okay? Just to be nice to mommy. At least mine.
No problem.
Yeah. Here's Sunrise. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
What is going on with the Larry Flint expose?
Any day now, pal.
Well, why is it such a small story in the pit? Why isn't anybody asking George Bush about this? I mean, they asked Clinton about
they asked him about drugs, and he wouldn't answer that question. He sure is not going to answer about this. But when it comes out in about 3 or 4 days, if they can pay this bitch off enough, they got 4 signed affidavits, is what we're hearing.
I mean, they asked Clinton, about if his penis was curved a certain way. They don't hesitate to ask him that. But why don't they ask him?
How come they don't ask Bush if his penis is curved the other way?
Because it doesn't have one.
Because I think Clinton's was curved to the left and Bush's curved to the right.
Well, why doesn't Larry Flint have a press conference in like a Jennifer Flowers type of press conference?
I just got through telling you, 3 or 4 days is what we're hearing.
All right.
Like a week before the election sounds real juicy to me.
Well, if it was Clinton, they'd have a $50 million investigation started already by now.
Exactly. Have a great day, pal. Well, we could have taken that 50 or 60 million, given it to that broad, and she'd be blabbing all over the place right now. Up, yeah. And then you know what they're going to say? Well, she got paid, but they have the signed affidavits. The lawyers have got their nose in it. Just like the Bob Livingston thing. He didn't deny it. He walked away. He resigned. How do you like that? And, of course, if Bush walks away, that leaves us with Dick. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon Wireless line. Wouldn't that be sweet? Bush has to, drop out because of the tremendous embarrassment and pressure, and the Republicans are left with Dick. Here's Naples. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
Okay.
Listen, on the senior thing, previous caller, we get a lot of them over here, too, for Bush. The big thing is that Gore's a socialist because he's offering programs for education and child health care.
Right,
But that is why I called, I saw
those people are still waiting for the visit from Dr. Mengele over there on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's true. I just saw the end of Bush's speech in Pittsburgh. He's talking about bipartisanship again.
Yeah.
I don't get it. What's with these Texas Democrats, the so-called Blue Dog Democrats? They're Republicans everywhere else in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't he get along with them?
And let's say it again. The Patients' Bill of Rights was passed over his veto in Texas by the Democratic legislature, and they had more than enough votes to override the veto, so he let it go into law without signing it.
Sure.
That's how bipartisan it was.
Yeah, right. From what I understand, they're pretty fiscally conservative down there. They support the death penalty. They're tough on crime. They're suspicious of any environmental regulations. They're pro-life. They're anti-government. So, of course, he's going to get along. There's a lot of backslapping going on down there. The only thing that separates them is rivalry and distrust. Despite that, though, Neil, the twist I saw in the article I read, Bush actually tried to do one major thing on his own there. And that was to change the tax base down there from property taxes to other forms of taxes. And despite all the backslapping and camaraderie, he couldn't get it done. He couldn't get a consensus. So here he is on national rallies and so forth talking about bipartisanship. Nobody's picking him up on this.
Okay, well, listen, slap it a couple of more times and let us know when you're done. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon Wireless line. Out of town, 877-785-6345. Let your voice be heard. Oh! Even as idiotic as it may be, let your voice be heard. That sounds pretty exciting, doesn't it? October 26th, as the clock is ticking, we're getting really close. And closer. How come you don't talk to our good friend Al Goldstein I shouldn't say his name, should I? Because he'll be on the goddamn bat line any second. But you should talk to him because he's good buddies with Larry Flynn. He's trying to sell School Magazine to Larry. And he would have the inside track. He probably knows Larry's wheelchair number. I mean, the cell phone number. Wouldn't you think?
Probably.
Yeah, we ought to have him get in touch. We can get the scoop on this damn thing.
He'll be in town tomorrow.
Al will?
Yeah.
How do you like that? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless lines. As the plot thickens, baby, you can almost smell it. Here's the mobile in Coral Springs. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Neil?
Yes, I am.
I'd be voting for Gore, but one thing scares the heck out of me.
And what is that, sir?
He's been pushing for the past 7 years for a federal tax on gasoline, up to $2.50 a gallon. I'm already sitting on the road, and I'm already seeing surcharges on product for the gasoline increases we've had. And what it amounts to, every 10 cents of surcharge on a product relates to 25 cents of retail.
Yeah.
On the selling price. And if it goes to $4, I mean, you're looking at a $4.
It's not going to go to $4. First of all, that's not part of his platform. If that was the case, which I never heard that in my life, but if that was the case...
It's there. It's in Congress. But it's not fictitious.
But let me say it again. He's been the vice president for 8 years. There hasn't been any such proposal while he's been there. It's not part of his campaign now. In addition to which, it would never pass anyway. So what's the point?
Well, hopefully it wouldn't. That's my concern. That's my only concern.
Let me say it again. We know that it wouldn't.
Because I don't like Bush.
Yeah.
But by the same token, I don't like seeing this,
Well, let me allay your fears and tell you it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see you at Amico. Okay, calm down. Says a few weeks ago, Bill McCullum and Governor George Pataki and 4 others dined at a restaurant in Fort Lauderdale. Bill picked up the check and thanked the server for her great meal and the service the best ever. When she opened the checkbook to look at the tip, she was shocked to see that Bill had left her a 10% tip. So much for helping the working people. It goes to show that Republicans, the rich, keep their money and screw the little guy. 60 cents a day, no way. Go Gore, says TH in Fort Lauderdale. You can take your 60 cents and... Yeah, that's what we're saying. That big middle-class tax cut, 60 cents a day. And then, of course, you'd have to be on the lower end of the scale in your income. You're going to get a big 11 cents a day. All right. So at the end of the week, 77 cents, you can buy 3/4 of a Diet Coke. Or maybe kind of share. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Many, many, many open lines. Look at that, 13 with Stiller in Florida. That's what we like. A lot of really dumb, a lot of proud the Floridians. Move out and visit occasionally 9. Move the F out and never look back 8. But we got a long way to go on this one. Here's to Cuesta. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I've listened to you for a long time, and I'm trying to figure out kind of really where you stand.
Trying to figure out where I stand. Which words didn't you understand? Have I been a little mealy-mouthed about this?
No, not really mealy-mouthed. You're a big advocate of saying, how does it really affect your life and stuff like that, and then I hear you calling people like fetus huggers and stuff like that. Now, I'm a lifelong Republican, but I'm not going to vote this year.
Good.
And the reason I'm not going to vote is I think both parties have kind of lost sight of everything that's going on. Have I heard you say before that you liked Mario Cuomo?
I love Mario Cuomo.
Okay, Mario Cuomo about 4 years ago said that, back in that election, Dan Quayle had it right. And he said that, what really counts is family values and personal responsibility.
Yeah.
And this country...
Well, let me ask you, is Mario Cuomo a fetus hugger?
No, but you're not. Okay, I understand what you're going to say. No, and I'm not saying that. I'm a lifelong Republican. I'm not a fetus hugger. I believe in a woman's right to choose. The reason I'm a Republican is because I believe that big business runs this country better than the left.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly do.
So in other words, it's like a Robin Hood in reverse: take from the poor and give to the rich.
No, not at all.
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, you're saying yes.
Well, the Republican Party, at least you're admitting the Republican Party is the party of big business. At least that's honest. I commend you for that.
Okay, and as I said, but if I believe that the best the Republicans can come up with is George Bush, I am obviously not voting this year.
Right, and you know something? If it weren't for the Supreme Court appointments, I wouldn't vote either. I already said that I wasn't going to vote.
Can I follow up on that point?
Yes, sir.
When you say that, what exactly do you mean? What do you honestly believe?
Well, how about Roe versus Wade? If Bush, they're going to be...
Okay, but then again, we go right back to what you originally say. How does it affect Neil Rogers?
So in other words, I'm only interested in saying I'm that selfish that I don't care about things that affect me.
It affects one thing.
Sir, it affects the kind of society that I live in. It affects our freedoms for all of us, okay? Once you start taking away the rights from one group, then that's what happened in Germany. Once they start taking away the rights from one, then they take them away from everybody.
I totally understand, and I've heard you said that this country is barbaric, and you don't agree
And
with
it is.
that.
That is absolutely, I didn't say I didn't agree with the death penalty. I didn't agree with the proliferation of guns. That's what I think is barbaric.
Okay, wait.
It's insanity.
Can I? One point on the NRA?
Closing, yes.
NRA?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, do you believe that honestly, if the Republican is voted in, that the NRA is going to have its total way with this country?
They're gonna have. They did. Let me say it again. They donated $1 million. Sir, let me say it again. They donated $1 million last month to the Bush campaign. Okay, they're giving with all four hands. They're giving to try to get him in there. And when the guy said that they were going to have an office right there inside the White House, he may have been only figuratively speaking, but pretty damn close, like maybe a half block down the street.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Want to score some pots?
Okay. Right. 132 at 560 WQM, and of course Mitch Hirsch yesterday, my stockbroker extraordinaire who wouldn't know a good stock if it bid him on the list. He says, I think we've reached bottom when I was discussing my new strategy that I designed myself, which looks like it was a really good idea. And I said, no, we haven't. Well, okay, it's your call, whatever you think. And of course, have we hit bottom yet?
No.
No, in fact, the NASDAQ's down 127, dropping like a rock, and the Dow's down 35 and dropping like a rock. You ain't seen nothing yet. Okay, we got 600 open lines between now and 2, which I have no idea why, because we're having a great intellectual discussion here today, the future of our lives. See, what really kills me about some of these people is they act like it's so hard to understand what I'm saying. Like, I just don't get it about, I couldn't possibly be any more clear. Crystal clear. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's a lady in Miami. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi.
This is the first time I get a chance to call. Every time I've tried before, I'm getting busy, and I just, at work, and I'm so happy I can get through this
It's your lucky day.
Neil, as a woman, I'm appalled that there are women out there that I have been in contact with regarding the vote between Bush and Al Gore, and that they do not realize that this man can take away our rights to choose. And I had a personal experience years ago when I was very young. I was maybe 17, where I was very fortunate that there was a state in this country, it was up there in New York City, where I actually could go and have an abortion. And my life would have been totally different than what it actually turned out to be had I not had that choice. And although I'm not thinking of having any children at this point in my life, I feel a sense of responsibility to other women, younger women that...
Like I said the other day, how about all these married women who claim that they're for Bush? How about their daughters? Don't they care about their daughters and about their rights to make their own choices?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. In other words,
and daughters?
They have daughters, they have nieces, they even, and one of the other reasons, the men themselves don't realize the implications that if a woman gets pregnant, they're involved for the next 18 years of child support. So it's not just a woman's issue. I mean, the woman's the one that gets pregnant, but it takes two to make that happen. So, the men are concerned with the financial issues, and they're looking at Bush Bush's issues as being...
Don't forget they love their guns. Don't forget that.
Of course, that's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that they don't realize is that if a woman does not have a right to choose and to have an abortion, that they are actually going to also be affected with this decision for the next 18 to 20 years of their life,
right.
Simply because they're also responsible. And with all the tests nowadays, that there's the DNA testing, there's a certainty as to who the father is. There's no more question about it. So it does affect the men, even though they're not the ones getting pregnant. And I'm surprised to see as many men not support this issue. I'm really surprised. The other thing is, I'm embarrassed if Bush, God forbid, becomes president. What has his wife done? She doesn't even speak. I mean, they had an interview with Barbara Walters. She said 2 words. I have no idea what this woman does. I have no idea.
Oh, George likes keeping her in the kitchen.
That's exactly right. So what kind of representation are we women going to have in the White House? I mean, after Hillary and some of the other women, Jacqueline Kennedy, to name another, who has brought issues, and Tipper has been involved in so many different issues, mental health.
Well, not all good ones, but nevertheless, at least she's got a brain bigger than a pea. Well, listen, vote early and often, sweetheart.
Yep, I sure will.
Thanks.
Bye.
Here is an excellent fact, which I forgot about this in the midst of all this stock market stuff. Guess yesterday who they were reporting had record profits. Remember, I was the one that told you weeks ago they were talking about they wanted to maximize their profits by the end of the year, their balance sheets. You see, I'm going to tell you, George W. and all your friends at the oil companies, maybe you're fooling the dummies out there like the guy that before was talking about the $2.50 tax on gas, which is a figment of his imagination, isn't going to happen. But all this business about the Arabs and about OPEC and about this, OPEC rhymes with Drek. Oh, and by the way, Ted David, quit using my material on CNBC. He's down here in Boca. He knows. Tech Drek. Nice going, Ted. Good Jewish boy. That's his first names. But anyway, here's the fact that says, why has no one picked up on the published fact that all oil companies have just had record profits as a result of increased oil prices? As per the Wall Street Journal and Sun Sentinel, they're deep in Bush's pocket, and what will happen in the next 4 years. Not to mention, of course, the pollution that they're spewing all over Texas, especially Houston, where you can't even walk outside half the time. How do you like them apples, huh? Record profits, and it's BS. It's all BS. They're just draining the money out of your pockets, the oil companies. Because if it really was the cost of oil, they wouldn't be having record profits. They don't give a flying F about you people or about me or anybody else except their profits, the bottom freaking line. So if you've got big stock in Texaco and Shell and Royal Dutch and all these other ones, go right ahead. Vote with both hands for George W. But if you're one of those people that's getting sick and tired of paying almost $2 for a gallon of gas and getting worse every minute and wondering how come, the price of the per barrel went from 30, what was it, almost 37 one day, then it was 35, then we finally went down to 32. Did the price of gas go down? No. And I'll say it again, these are one of the biggest contributors to George W. Number 1, the tobacco companies. Number 3, NRA. Number 4, the pharmaceuticals. And number 5, the oil companies. Oh, yeah, but we're afraid that Gore's in the pocket of those Chinese. 22, and what's wrong with that? I like the good chinks every now and then, huh? Especially at Emerald Coast. 22 before 2 at 560 WQM. Sure!
Come on, America. It's time to grow up and step outside the closet.
Tell a friend about your secret and bring out the gayness.
No.
Bring out the gayness.
No.
Bring out the gayness. Tell a friend about your secret and bring out the gayness.
No!
From all the gayness you can get.
Christians, preachers, and all the religious right, you're not fooling anyone anymore. It's in the papers every day, so why not catch up with the rest of the world and tell your disciples the truth to set yourself free? Next time you want to reach out for goodness, reach for a handful of ass.
Tell a friend about your secret and bring out the gayness.
Oh!
Bring out the gayness. Bring out the gayness.
Yeah.
Tell a friend about your secret and bring out the gayness. Tell your disciples that you're gay.
On Hardball, on Softball with Chris Matthews, MSNBC, May 31st, 2000, W says, actually, this may sound a little West Texan to you, but I like it. When I'm talking about myself and when he's talking about myself, all of us are talking about me. In a Reuters interview, May 5th, 2000, he says, it's clearly a budget. It's got a lot of numbers in it. On his meeting with John McCain in the Dallas Morning News, May 10th of this year, he says, I think we agree the past is over. And on Meet the Press, April 15th this year, he says, Laura and I really don't realize how bright our children is sometime until we get an objective analysis. As in, is our children learning? Let me read that one again. Laura and I really don't realize how bright our children is sometime until we get an objective analysis. How do you like that? The next leader of the free world. I'm sorry. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon Wireless. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hi, man. I am pissed. I am really pissed.
Are you pissed?
Yes, I am. First of all, I have a few issues. First of all, Willie Logan, get the hell out.
Yeah, went
You
down
screwed up a long time ago when you went Republican, baby.
That's right. When he stuck his head up Jeb Bush's ass, that was the end of him.
So take your bourgeois, bike riding, Hell's Angels butt out of here. Secondly, all one has to do, people, Democrats, Republicans, Naderites, Buchanan backers, all one has to do is look at this economy and this country today and compare it to when Papa Bush was in office.
Right.
That's all you have to do.
Amen.
Regardless of your party affiliation.
Right.
Thirdly,
Third.
who wants a Bush and a dick in the Oval Office? In closing, how about Nikila?
Boy! Beauty. Covered all the bases, baby. Home run. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon Wireless line. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Neil?
Pretty good.
I'm basically a Gore supporter, but this Bush tax cut about six cents a day.
Mm-hmm. 3 cents?
It actually, I think, averages out to about 100 something a year. And like I said, I am a Gore supporter, but you know, I don't think necessarily that plan should be bashed because everybody could use $100 something a year. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think that Gore's plan is anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know why it has to be bashed. But I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.
I just had to see where the hell that was going to end.
I think somebody walked in on him.
Yeah. Put it away, pal. Oh, they couldn't see it anyway? I can relate. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon Wireless line. Out of town is open. We're waiting on those Sulu and Liming, those great intellectuals from like over there on the West Coast. 877-785-6345. I like when you're driving over on Alligator Alley and there's signs about the panther habitat, and then as you get kind of closer to the West Coast, like Fort Myers and Naples, there's a sign that says, with an arrow, it says, intelligent life habitat. Just in a very small area there. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I want you to explain something. You always ask him why George Bush is so close to the polls, or you can't understand why he's...
No, I don't understand.
All right, let me...
for the life of me, I know there's a lot of stupid people, but he's terrifying.
Let me... 61... This may be a reason, but they were talking about this on CNN last weekend.
Yeah.
61 million Americans had their money in mutual funds.
Yeah.
And when Al Gore talks about drug companies, insurance companies, oil companies, cigarette companies, chemical companies, HMOs, many people, forget about the technology sector, look in their mutual funds and see they have a balance.
No, they don't.
They do.
No, they don't. You're absolutely wrong. There are 1% of people in this country, including yours truly, who know the stocks in their mutual fund. Every mutual fund has got hundreds and hundreds of stocks.
No, they send a pamphlet every month. Unless you're broken, they send a pamphlet.
They send it every month. And you know where it goes here? Right in the old circular
fund.
No,
a lot of Americans look at their portfolio.
Let me say it again. Nobody pays any attention. And there are hundreds of names on each one of those funds. The average person, first of all, if you have a good magnifying glass, you might be able to read it. I get those things every day. I throw them right in the circular fund. Nobody reads them.
I'm trying to explain.
Well, you're trying to make up a reason, and it's not valid because that's not a reason.
That's what they said on CNN.
I don't care what they said on CNN. They could tell me it was 4 o'clock in the morning right now, and I'd still tell you it's still 11 minutes till 2. That's what they said. You know what you reminded me of? My mother. Now, I read somewhere. Yeah, she's always telling me she read somewhere. And when she tells you she read somewhere, it's either in Reader's Digest, Dear Abby, or Ann Landers. Because that pretty much covers her itinerary, okay? She read somewhere. My dogs had ear infections for 6 years because all dogs down here, most of them with big ears, have ear infections because of the climate, the allergies, and so on. And I've talked about it a million times. And usually it's a battle. It's a never-ending battle. And as he gets older, he's 12 years old, my golden retriever, he's getting deafer and deafer and deafer. And you know something? Old dogs, just like old people, they get deaf. One has got nothing to do with the other, although it may have hurried it along. But she calls me a few days ago to tell me that she read somewhere that when dogs get infections in their ears, it can go into their brain. And now I better schlep them to the vet again because it might go into it, and she's worried sick about it. That's what you remind me of, sir. You heard it on CNN, therefore it must be true. I once read in the Weekly Reader. You know what I'm saying? I once read in Mad Magazine, fill in the blank.
Highlights.
Oh. In fact, I could tell you I once read that prospectus you're talking about, that breakdown on my mutual funds with all the stocks in there, but I'd be lying because I never read it. They all go straight into the circular file.
I read one once.
In addition to which, if you would take a separate poll and ask them if they do take polls on the issues. Has that ever been an issue?
No.
Only the ultra-rich and the very rich care about those things. That's correct.
Ooh, look, Coca-Cola.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, Coke. Coke. That's why they want him in there. He can relate to it.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
This man, bitch, I f***ed him. Oh!
They got rid of Dick and Deirdre, thought they'd give someone else a try, yeah. So they thought they'd go a new way. Hello, Boomer. Oh, no, goodbye. We had to pass on Rush Limbaugh, much a straight conservative guy. Yes, they wanted comedy. They cured it, pretend miss. It's a dangerous notion. Don't stop that big. Now it's Miller's moment. Monday night football. Yes, unstoppable. Yes.
Unlistenable. Yeah, the ratings are down 7% for Monday Night Football. Let's hear it. They're in the tank, baby. They're sucking wind. Nobody's watching the World Series. Their ratings are way down. And Monday Night Football's down 7% because they put that moron on there. Michaels and Dan Budo. If that would have been the combination, it doesn't take three guys to do a football game. I hate to break the news to you. It doesn't take three to handle even the Whopper. But don't tell that to the experts at ABC as the ratings continue dropping into oblivion. Here's Pompano Beach. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
Brought up the question of the Supreme Court selection. I'd also like to remind your audience that the president also selects the trial court judges, and that would mean that in case Humpty Dumpty or you say Howdy Doody on the Senate seat, it would be his recommendations that a Republican president.
Oi!
Uh-huh.
And also, not only just the Roe versus Wade, but within my lifetime, my adult memory, the one man or one person, one vote concept could be reversed.
Right. Prayer in public schools, getting those religious fanatics with their foot back in the door in every public place that they can.
Yes. And the whole idea of the segregation of schools could be reinstituted too.
Absolutely correct.
Just thought I'd remind people that maybe have accepted these things, and even though these crazy people about a woman's right to choose have not accepted that as part of life, these other things could also be done.
Well said. Thanks a lot, pal. Thanks. Okay, thank you. It says you're absolutely correct. Maybe the top 10 to 20 holdings won't change, or a mutual fund position change by the minute. Only once a quarter when they change their holdings will you know their position, which might be held only momentarily, and that published report usually shows holdings that reflect their objectives for investing. Yeah, it changes like every second. They're in, they're out, they're up, they're down. So it's meaningless. Absolutely meaningless. And the idea that Joe and Sally Smith somewhere in Middle America are sitting there looking at this prospectus for the mutual fund that's showing the breakdown. They got such percentage of Philip Morris, forget about it. They may even have somebody there to read it to them. Here's Keita Skane. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to make this quick. I just started subscribing to this Economist magazine called The Red Herring.
Yeah.
And it seems to be
Is
a
it
pretty
kosher?
good. Pardon me?
Is it kosher?
Yeah, I think it is. A lot of Jews write for it.
All right.
Anyway, this one article is very interesting. They took the average annual percentage increase of the Dow Jones Industrial since